It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on a Tuesday night. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show and your Christmas delight. So special guests and making it festive fun for all. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show. We're gonna win it all because it's the YouTubers' yearly awards show coming soon tonight. And coming their way. There's no fight. Merry Christmas, Warhammer fans.
Oh. That's right, folks. It's the Andy and Rem Show Christmas special. Now, unfortunately, there were one or two technical glitches during that intro. I think we missed about 2 lines of that wonderful musical performance due to your internet warming up, shall we say, and your computer that was having 1 or 2 technical difficulties that delayed the show a little bit. But we're here, and that delay hasn't lessened the festive spirit that's running rampant around these parts. As you can see, we are fully adorned with Christmas decorations and other kinds of festive regalia. As you can see on Mr. Remington there, he has got an almost equal level of background fancy festive goodness. Not sure about the headband. That's not very Christmassy though, is it? What's going on there?
Come on. That's just what we wear, man.
So before we begin, I'm going to tell you right now that at the end of the show tonight, we are going to be talking a little bit about Star Wars. So don't mention it at all in the comments, because we're going to get to that at the end after we've given people who haven't seen it yet a chance to leave. So nothing on that just now. So because it's a Christmas special, we extended the invitation to numerous guests to make appearances and spread some festive cheer. And several of them did take us up on the offer. But mainly the kind of B and C listers, but they're going to be here nonetheless. So before we get into that, let's have a look who is in the audience tonight. I believe the first comment may have been Mr. YouTube Newbie, but there have been 1 or 2 issues with the comments before the show. They keep resetting and rearranging them, so I'm not sure who it actually was that got the first one. So I'm not sure we should really give him a platinum membership for that while there's still some doubt lingering over it. He might have to prove it.
I mean, I think we should, because it's the Christmas special show tonight, Andy, we should maybe offer platinum memberships to up to 5 members until the end of the year.
Maybe we should, actually. And it's an auto renew as well. You have to phone up and manually cancel it. And unfortunately, our phone center, our call center, isn't going to be operational until sometime after the Christmas period. So you may have a bit of trouble canceling.
YouTube News says he wasn't first. Maybe he's just saying that because he doesn't want platinum membership. Maybe he just, you know what I mean?
Maybe it could have been Plastic Sturgeon again. I think he's had it about 4 weeks in a row. So who else have we got in here? We've got Drunken_Elf, who is apparently a little bit drunk right now, living up to his name. And I'm not talking about the _elf part. Then we've got Dieter. We've got Benjamin Powell. Lots of familiar names. Matthew Stig. I'm not sure if we've seen that name before. Graham Rigg. Definitely seen that one. Audu, it's Pezapoo. James Mabry. Gloomdready Gaming. All very familiar names. Who else have we got in here? We've got Ant Evans, who has been watching feverishly quite recently. Who else have we got? We've got a lot of people posting multiple times, like Drunken_Elf and James Mabry seem to have been having a lengthy conversation in the comments, obscuring anyone else. Oh, there's Andrew Wade. He was commenting on your instrument, Mr. Remington. Then I think that is just about everybody who commented up to this point. So, oh, there's Stu Gibson and Spud. Good old Spud. Yep. So, I don't know where Mr. Remington's gone, but I am about to send a link to this hangout to our first guest of the evening because, as you can see, for tonight, I'm Santa. However, Santa only really deals with the, shall we say, he does deal with naughty and nice, but he's mostly on the nice side, isn't he? And we're about to invite someone in here who is going to be having a serious look at the naughty side this year, who's going to be casting a judgmental eye over everyone. And I think we should all be worried, because there is a list and it has been checked twice. So while we're waiting for that guest to pop up, Mr. Remington, how are you enjoying the festive season so far? That's quite a delay.
Hello?
Have you frozen there, Mr. Remington?
Yes, I froze.
All the Christmas internet traffic is holding you back.
I think the system's getting clogged with all the fans watching the show tonight, man.
I think it has, actually. Oh, here we go. Are you ready, folks?
How do you? It's Krampus Poo!
Oh no, not the legendary Krampus Poo.
The very same.
And what brings you here?
Well, I've been watching your show, Mr. Andy 2D6 and Mr. Remington, and I've been noticing a lot of naughty and a lot of nice young boys and girls. And I'll be paying a visit to certain few of you.
Is that a fact, Mr. Krampus Poo?
It's always the same, always has been, always will be.
That is quite a horrifying visage you're casting across the internet there.
Well, if you've been a very good boy or very good girl, you have nothing to fear.
You certainly don't, because if you've been very good, you're just going to have me coming down your chimney.
Well, who wouldn't want you coming down their chimney, Mr. D6? You are, after all, I've been making a list, I've been checking it twice, trying to find out who is naughty and who is nice. Here it is.
Well, I'm certainly on the nice list. I don't know about
It's
Remington.
written in blood, as you can see. I can tell you now, Mr. D6, you are indeed on the good list.
Hallelujah.
Sadly, I won't be visiting you this Christmas.
It's a shame, but I'll take it. What else have you got on that list of yours, Mr. Krampus Poo?
Well, let us look at the good list. I mean, Santa, as you know, you passed me on these names so that I don't have to visit you. So, Gloomdready Gaming, she's on the good list.
And rightly so. Assisting me in those live hangout games and filling in for Mr. Remington.
Exactly. Mr. Stu Gibson himself is indeed on the list for the very same thing.
Can't argue with that.
Mr. MC1 Gamer for his excellent series of how to play Age of Sigmar.
You're not wrong.
Mr. Pezapoo, who at the moment is disposed, I'll say no more. And on the bad list. So do you want me to go through the bad list?
I think you probably should. A few people out there should be bracing themselves and maybe boarding up their chimney at this point.
Well, I'll be bringing the stinger with me. So, very first on the naughty list is Mr. Plastic Sturgeon. Would you care to know why?
I think we better know why. A regular viewer of this show, what could he have possibly done?
He's always commenting first, and therefore robbing all the boys and girls of having the joy of being first commenting on the Andy and Rem show.
That's actually a fair point. You brought this on yourself, Plastic Sturgeon.
He has indeed. Secondly, he's just lost connection, and I imagine because he's on the very naughty list himself, Mr. Remington Steele.
What could have possibly put the co-host of this show onto the naughty list?
I'll tell you why, Mr. D6, and you yourself should know why. Not so long ago, you took a pilgrimage, a holy pilgrimage of gaming, down to Reef Town, did you not?
That is true.
And who was supposed to be on this epic journey through to the Wales?
I think I see where you're going with this, because I do recall a certain Mr. Steele proclaiming that he would be in attendance for that day of gaming goodness.
Exactly. And who actually turned up and could be bothered?
I seem to recall that that was only me and Mr. Pezapoo, who is mysteriously not here.
Exactly. So he's on the naughty list. So I'll be paying a visit to Mr. Steele this Christmas.
I think that's fair. We'll have to tell him about that when he gets back in here.
If he ever does come back.
He's probably running for the hills right now.
Thirdly, on the bad list is the 9th age team. All I can say is live in the now. Live in the now. Leave the past behind. There are plenty of games to play. 8th edition, Age of Sigmar. Just get on with it.
Yeah, I think the 9th age team have definitely been visited by the ghost of Christmas past once or twice.
Exactly. And I'll be visiting them very soon. And last, but by all means not least, anyone who tries to balance Age of Sigmar. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it is certainly not a game that lends itself to balancing.
Why would you ever bother?
However, does that include people who are championing the tremendous comp system?
Wow. With the tremendous comp system, I believe it's all in good stead to making the game a little bit different. So the tremendous comp system, I'll let that one slip, but I'll keep a close eye on how that goes.
Excellent.
Oh, here he is, the man himself.
Yeah, Mr. Remington, you're back. How's your internet doing?
It's really bad tonight, guys. I don't know what's wrong with it, man. But I'm going to have to watch this video back because, Pezza, you've outdone yourself there. With
Who? Who is
the
this person
boogeyman
you speak of?
I don't see a Pezapoo in here.
What, Grunge Man?
You must mean me, the Krampus poo.
The Kankanu?
What's
a
Krampus poo?
Already on the naughty list, Mr. Remington.
Oh, please don't.
The Krampus poo. It's named after, you know, when you go out for a morning run and you pull up like, your leg's hurting a bit and you step in something a bit squidgy. It's that. So that's where he took his name from.
I like it though.
Mr. Krampus poo, I have it on good authority that you actually have Pezapoo locked up somewhere nearby. And it would actually be nice if we could have a little chat with him as well, if you don't mind, setting him free for a few minutes.
Well, I've been here far too long waiting for the Andy and Rem show, and although I'm used to the heat of the gates of hell, it's as hot as hell in here.
It certainly is.
1 second, I will go and retrieve the bag, which Mr. Pezapoo proceeds.
Keeping him in a bag. Right then. Well, while he's doing that, let's look at the comments a little bit, shall we? Well, no, I'm saving some of these actually. They're quite amusing. Hooves of Doom, he loves mince pies. I'm not sure if that was in context with anything we've been saying, but it is festive. Can't argue with that. Oh yeah, YouTube Newbie was offering him a mince pie. If YouTube
I hate
has,
pies.
Do you? I'm not a fan of mince pies.
They're horrible, man.
Yeah, I prefer a nice apple pie at Christmas time instead. So if YouTube Newbie has developed a way to send Christmas treats, not really mince pies because we're not really a big fan, but anything else, if you can send that via the internet, that would be very nice. We wouldn't mind. Let's see. Oh, some people have been a little bit insulting towards the great Krampus poo and his appearance. YouTube Newbie wants gold membership, not platinum. Are we offering gold memberships?
Gold membership basically means that we'll maybe send you a miniature sprayed in Liberator Gold.
That sounds fair enough. It is the gold colour of Sigmar, so that is pretty fair. Let's see. YouTube Newbie, he's wondering what Santa did with Andy. Well, folks, I've got a surprise for you. It is actually me under here, for anyone that wasn't following along.
I think I prefer it with a beard, Andy, I do.
Oh, here he is. Did you have a bit of trouble climbing out of that sack?
Yeah, it's the first sack I've climbed out of in a long time. It's here actually. I'll show you. It's quite an interesting sack that he used.
The first live sack, I think, on the Andy and Rem show. Here it is. Oh!
It's the Sigmar Sack of Doom.
Wow.
I think he was right to put you in that sack, though, the way you've been doing recently with all your chaotic behaviour.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that painting that amazing Archaon that I've been following your progress on, by the way, that's upset a few gods. Hence your
I think I'm going to be slipping from the good list to the naughty list very, very soon.
I think you are. If Sigmar has a hand in who's on the Christmas naughty or nice list, you certainly will be, because you were a loyal follower of Sigmar with all his mighty Stormcast that you painted up.
That's true. But in all fairness, I've done him proud, because there might be a possibility that the Stormcast that I did are going to be in an issue of White Dwarf.
Ooh.
Very, very soon, so we'll see.
That could redeem you.
That'd be quite cool.
You turn them around real quick as well, with great paint jobs.
Cheers, man. They didn't win, though, did they?
No.
How do you paint everything so quickly, Mr. Pezzapoo? What's your trick?
Well, you have to sign some pacts using blood. You may have met one of the characters that I did that with.
I think we did.
That's what you've got to do, I'm afraid.
Well, I'm going to relay a few comments to you now.
Okay. Okay.
So, from Gloomdready Gaming, Pez looks perfectly normal, except did he do something with his hair?
What, you mean I had hair? Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
I can only assume that comment was made after you appeared, because of course the Krampus Poo is a totally different person.
Oh, of course, yeah, you know.
And let's see what else we've got on here. We've got a few people claiming that they're on the naughty list, such as MC1 Gamer. Even though he was put on the nice list, we might have to switch him over.
No, I don't think there's mistakes that are going to be made by the Krampus. He knows what he's doing.
Apparently,
I've got a question.
Uh-oh.
How do you? We've not mentioned this before, but maybe this could require a long answer. But how do you guys clear this wonderful hobbies with your partners?
I've got a cave where I disappear to, and basically it's got like blackout blinds on it. It's got blackout blinds, and that's it.
And she doesn't come in and say, "What the hell is this? You're painting miniatures all day."
Well, the thing is, she came in last week actually, and there is a sign saying no women allowed. And she came in and disrespected the man cave rules. But I don't think she'll do it again, because the first thing we did was ask her if she could make a cup of tea. So she said, "Oh, I'm not coming in here again." I was like, winner.
Interesting strategy. For me, I think it comes down to finances. If I was to be spending too much money on the hobby, that might be an issue. But, of course, being an A-list celebrity, the main perk of that is that people just send you stuff. So it's not as big of an issue as it used to be.
I used to just placate the ex-misses with, "Yeah, I'm painting them all, and I'm gonna sell them all for like way more than what it cost me," and that kind of just bought me some time.
Yeah.
Even though I hadn't actually sold any.
I think in the end they're just happy to not have you around the feet all the time.
Now, if anyone out there would actually like to be visited by the Krampus Poo at night, then let us know. I'm sure the message can be relayed to him.
Can't see why you would, but still.
You never know.
It's just given me a fantastic idea though for RemCon.
I think you'll find it's called Andy Palooza.
Andy Palooza.
Well, we're still thinking about the name, but I think the fans are basically more swaying to RemCon. But in the new year, we're going to have this big meet-up of Warhammer World. We should go in costume. That's what I'm thinking.
Why not? I mean, there's more to the Krampus Poo than what you've seen the torso. There's all kinds of hanging weapons of torture with bits of hair and blood stuck on them and all sorts of stuff.
I think it'd be great, man. We just turn up in there, just fully decked out with beautifully painted miniatures.
Just a bunch of idiots.
We might make it into White Dwarf like that.
Yeah. Chaos.
I bet we could, actually.
It would be funny.
It
And
would.
hot. It's hot in there.
So, now I feel like the Krampus Poo has eaten into quite a bit of the Pezzapoo time.
Yes.
But we have got a few things to ask you. So, have you got any amusing tales of Christmas wargaming antics?
Not really, no. Not amusing antics, no. I've got a few things that I've got
wargaming
bought.
presents or really amazing wargaming presents that you got for Christmas?
Yeah, I think the things that I remember all bought from my wife. The first one was the Citadel paint set that came out about 4 or 5 years ago. So like opened it up and there's just this big grey box and I was like, oh my god, you know. So you basically it covers you for about a year or two, doesn't it? You know, you've got everything you need. You just start going and just topping up. And it was quite expensive, so that was really good and useful. You know, you use it all year round, don't you? So that was cool. I had the Space Hulk 2009 as well. That was quite cool. And this year I've got the Varangard to go with Archaon. So that's quite cool.
I think they're going to be pretty damn tasty.
The only problem is, Pez, no one's going to want to play against Archaon and the Vanguard of Chaos.
Well, you can bring all your armies, can't you? You can bring them all.
Yeah, we might have to borrow some of your Stormcast for that one as well.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, he is pretty tasty. He's not unbeatable, is he? You know, depends how much stuff you chuck at him.
Nothing's unbeatable in Age of Sigmar.
Exactly. You just got to be sensible, haven't you? It'd be interesting to see what he can do, though.
He does rank quite highly on the tremendous meter, though.
He does.
To be fair.
He does.
So,
20 wounds.
Have you got any?
Have you managed to get many games in the last few months?
I've not got any games of anything in because we've just been mad busy building terrain. The only time I've done this painting is because I've just decided to have a bit of time off. So, other than that,
over this festive period, we could all get together.
It sounds good.
With pre-RemCon.
It'll be Stormcast because I've only got Archaon half painted at the moment.
Well, if you can get him finished pretty soon, maybe we can have some Stormcast versus the Forces of Chaos.
Well, that's all I've got painted. I've got 2 box sets worth of Chaos. I've got the Varangard and him, and that's it. I haven't got any sorcery yet.
I've got a lovely new battle mat here waiting for them as well.
Indeed.
That'll be nice. Now, yeah. Mr. Pezapoo, are you going to make any wargaming related New Year's resolutions this year?
Well, we've just touched on it a little bit. I said to Smudge the other day, I said we definitely need next year to put some time aside, even if we are busy, and just play more games, really, to keep our toes in. Keep in with it, you know, because it's easy just to keep plodding on and lose track. And I think the more time, like it happened to Rem, didn't it, the other week, the more time you're out to doing it, the least chance there'll be of you getting back into it. So we're definitely going to play a few games, not just of Age of Sigmar, but everything, really. So
right then.
Quite cool.
So we'd like to thank Mr. Pezapoo and his guest, the Krampuspoo, for joining us on this fine festive evening. And with
that's going to be a tough act to follow, for sure.
It is.
I don't know. I'd just like to thank everybody who watches Andy and Rem Show, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And a ho 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 to you, Mr. Pezapoo.
Happy gaming.
Ho ho how do, if you will.
I'll catch you later.
Is that all you've got, Mr. Remington?
That wasn't really tribute.
Have you got a more fitting musical tribute? Right.
All the music are going to suck tonight because it's all about the guests.
Right, I'm firing out a link to our next guest as we speak. I don't know if he's going to be able to follow that, but he's going to be able to give it a pretty good try. I'm not going to tell you exactly what kind of try he's going to give it because that's a bit of a giveaway as to who it's going to be. But it's going to be exciting. So, Mr. Remington, how do you feel about the fact you're going to be visited by the Krampuspoo this year?
Say what?
How do you feel about the fact you're going to be visited by the Krampuspoo for your naughty behaviour?
Well, what naughty behaviour have I been up to, man? What have I done?
Well, you didn't turn up to the Wargaming gathering at Reef Town, did you?
No.
That put you on the list. Plain and simple.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Ooh!
I think this Christmas period just got tremendous.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
It's going. I think I want to try to redirect everybody from the tremendous into the massive. That's my in the new year. I think the new word is massive. And if you really want to get extra special with this new wave, this new movement that I want to try and start, it's got to be fucking massive.
It's fucking massive.
I'm not sure about that. This is a child-friendly show we run here. Have you never watched this before? You've even been on.
No, I've watched this show before. I know it's not child-friendly.
So what's made you change from tremendous to massive? Maybe Archeon's release?
Lord Tremendous sent me a cease and desist order, and I just can't afford the legal fees.
Did he threaten to burn your house down by any chance?
No, but his buddy did.
Yeah, they've got a bit of previous in that domain. So, of course, folks, we've been joined by the legendary Tremendous Damage Maestro himself, Mr. MC Wargamer. So, how are you enjoying your festive period at the moment?
It's been a very busy month ever since Halloween through Thanksgiving, through the holiday season, all the way till the end of the year is nuts. I just have a very big family, so it's a whirlwind. And I haven't gotten a whole lot of games in. I've been doing as much hobby stuff as I can, but it hasn't been as many games as I would like.
Yeah, the videos have dried up a bit on your channel at the moment, haven't they? What's going on there?
I'm a bit remiss. I've lost a couple of my Patreon supporters. Hopefully they've gone over to the Terrain Tutor. I would hope that they've gone and supported Mel. But I mean, look, I put a couple of videos out. I've had appearances with you guys, but real life just family is bigger than Wargaming. I got to tell you. But but Pez is a very hard act to follow. I don't have a whole costume. I don't have a whole persona. But I recently went away right after the Halloween break. I went away. Took my family to Disney World, and we bought obviously some things that we'll never wear again. So I dug into my son's closet and pulled out something. I figured if we're going to be wearing, I got this. This will never be worn again. So I figured if we're all going to dress up in costumes, I'm going to have to go and put something on to make sure that here, let me go zoom out a little bit. I don't know if this is, I think I want to go gangster and try and get this to, yeah, there we go. Try and get this to like droop down a little bit here. So there we go. I didn't get the memo that we were going to be like doing dress up. But, I think that'll work. Yeah.
I think that looks pretty good. I'm not sure about the ears though.
Yeah, well, I'll glue them back like this. That's too Harry Potter bullshit. The ears are gonna work. I need some more. There's not enough skulls. That's the problem.
That is true, actually. You don't see a lot of skulls around Christmas time, do you?
No.
I mean, you would think maybe that, especially delivering gifts to, let's say, a baby Jesus, for example, you would think that some kind of ornamental skull would be kind of top of the list, wouldn't you?
Maybe that's a resolution for next year. More skulls in your holiday season.
Maybe like a Tomb King or Vampire Count nativity scene somewhere.
I'll work on that. I'm very good at scaring the kids during Halloween time. So,
are you typically one to get much in the way of miniatures and wargaming stuff as Christmas presents?
Well, no. Most of my family has no idea what the hell this is about. Sometimes they see my posts on Facebook and they're like, "What are you talking about? What is this thing that you do?" The other half probably think that I'm painting just because it's, if not, it's some stress relieving, which it is. It is some stress relieving method. They mostly have no idea. And my wife, although she plays video games, this is not a hobby she has any interest in at all. My son, however, is a different story. So there might be exchanging of that back and forth down the road.
Now,
but it'll be within the immediate family, I'm sure.
We've had a few comments directed towards you. Danny Ashby says, "I don't know. I think Tremendous is too well established at this point," and I'm inclined to agree, actually.
Yeah, well, look, you can't stop the course of a raging river, I guess.
You certainly can't. You can try and deviate it. You can try and add little streams off to one side, but I don't think you can ever stop the main flow. Not without some serious excavating.
I'm loving Massive, but maybe you could just split them into two categories. You've got Tremendous and Massive, but which one's bigger?
I would lean towards Massive.
That is a question for the ages.
And I'm only saying that because I don't want to get sued.
And we've got a comment from WasGob, who I think has spent too much time on the internet, and anyone else who has will get this reference. He said that MC puts on his robe and wizard hat. I think a lot of us out there know exactly what he's talking about, but we're not going to delve into it. I don't know about these two. I'm not sure how internet savvy you guys are. I'm not sure.
It does look like a wizarding hat. It's a wizarding hat, Mitch.
It is kind of a wizarding hat. Yes, this is, for those who don't know, this is the Wizard's Apprentice or the Magician's Apprentice hat from Disney, which everybody was wearing hats because we went around Halloween time to Disney. So I just was like, all right, I gotta get a hat. I gotta get a hat. Everybody's wearing hats. The kids are wearing hats. My wife's wearing hats. The couple that we went with are all wearing hats. I had to get a hat. So of course I got creamed at the register, paying for a hat that will never get worn again. So this is a great opportunity. I really appreciate that. I can wear this, get a little bend in it. Yeah.
It's pretty stylish. Now, also in the comments, Dan de Jong says that you are, in fact, the real Grandpapa Christmas. I don't know. Have you ever had a beard?
Me?
Yeah.
I've had stubble, plenty of stubble. Can't stop shaving, but no, never grown a real beard.
Santa-like beard?
No.
I thought you used to be a rocker, Mitch.
Yeah, I was mistaken for a rocker when I was in college. No, that's a real story. I had a mane. I had a lion's mane back here. I had a lot of big hair, and I used to dance on bars, and not because I was supposed to. I just wound up dancing on bars at some point in the night. The guy came up to me and he said, "Can you sing?" And I said, "Fuck no." And then I lost my opportunity because I found out that he was a manager for a band.
And that's why you refuse to sing even to this day.
I can't sing. You guys know that. This has been proven on this show.
Well,
I do a mean air guitar, but I cannot sing.
I don't remember you trying that hard. I think you've got some kind of deep-seated trauma in there in your mind related to your failed opportunity to become some kind of A-list musician like Mr. Remington here.
There's deep-rooted trauma. It has nothing to do with singing.
So maybe that can be a New Year's resolution for the Andy and Rem show, Mitch. Get your boys together and do a performance with your wizarding hat.
Get yourself some singing lessons, and sometime next year you can come back on and sing for us.
Make a wish.
No, I'll be more than happy to learn how to play an instrument, but singing, no.
So, Mitch, what's your New Year's gaming resolution? What do you want to do in the next 6 months, let's say? Well,
first of all, I definitely feel that I'm on both the naughty and the nice list, and I feel like I keep getting the same lump of coal every year, so I'm just going to carry that over. I think that's a nice, after a while, it's the Charlie Brown syndrome. But my resolve is, of course, to play more games. Beyond all things, not by the smallest measure from the pressure that you guys put on me, but to paint more miniatures, which will help. That I've got a new airbrush, so it'll help. It'll help a lot. So I want to put more bat reps on the YouTube channel. We're talking about wargaming things here only, okay?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking forward to banning more assholes on my YouTube channel.
I think, what about doing a show showing all the comments from the last year that all the assholes have been writing in?
That would be great. The problem is when you ban them, it deletes the thread. All the history is gone. That would have been awesome if I recorded all that.
Copy and paste them onto a Word document so you've got them all listed there. That'd be great.
I don't know if I could relive or reimagine the truth behind what was really going on in the comment threads. I don't think I can even do it again. Yeah. I do think that I want to start a line of T-shirts. I think I can make a killing with "Banned by MC1 Gamer" T-shirts.
Not as much of a killing as you could make with the Tremendous Damage T-shirt.
You know what? There's job opportunity.
I would wear one.
Yeah, all right, I'll work on it. I do know somebody who has a T-shirt business.
So, Mitch, what do you think about the Ninth Age? Is your community playing Ninth Age, or are they with Age of Sigmar? What's going on where you live?
You know, I think that mostly on the net, it's gained some traction. There's more and more people that have shown interest in it, because there's a lot of people that, without being really too rude, there's people that are still butthurt about the transition from 8th edition to Age of Sigmar. There's still people that are just very upset. The rage and the vitriol is kind of reduced a little bit, but there's still people that are banning people on websites, like the hive of scum and villainy that we all know is Warseer. And I'm calling you guys out on Warseer. Your mods are a bunch of dicks. All right.
We actually have a Ninth Age fanatic in the comments right now. J Root is a big Ninth Age apologist, shall we say?
No, look, I want to make a comment here before I get into it, because I don't want people to get the wrong impression. I really support the whole Ninth Age thing. It's not my thing, but I support it. I think it's good that people who are not interested in where Warhammer is going have a community that's, it's not a community that I think is going to spread like wildfire, but it does have a strong, rabid base that are really putting out a very interesting, very complete set of rules. Even though it's a living rule set, it's very interesting that they're doing it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are involved, a lot of well-known people on the YouTuber community. I don't see it gaining real traction in the brick and mortar stores and basements. I think people that are disenfranchised because they just don't like Age of Sigmar will like it, because maybe it answers some of the questions that they had with 8th edition, and now they have a means with a community that is very fanatical about it that they can play with. But I just don't see it being widespread. I mean, it's not like there's going to be new models launched from it. They could adapt rules with models that are launched by GW or any model that's out there. They certainly can do that. People are converting stuff up. You've got, Once Bitten, you've got the Sustainable Center. There's a lot of well-known people that are really involved in it, and I think that's great. So if that's your thing, great. And if it's not, I just think that I would like to have seen some of the support in the other direction, and the calm, rational support in the other direction. Obviously, you can't get everything you want.
Yeah, we don't bear any ill will towards the Ninth Age team, really. Especially at this time of year, goodwill to all men and women and all that. But we like to have a little joke at their expense now and then, as you may have noticed.
I mean, I'm with you on that. I do like seeing large blocks of infantry still. I like seeing these massive battles with organised regiments and stuff. I still like that. But I don't know. It's Age of Sigmar's kind of gotten to me a bit. I had a few games and really enjoyed them, and all the games I've played were kind of always in the balance. I don't know. With a tiny mind like mine, it's enough for me.
There's things I love about 8th edition. There's things I love about playing those big games, the large block troop games. I like being able to have the freedom of choice on Age of Sigmar. There's a lot of things I like about Age of Sigmar. There's some things I don't. Look, it's not a perfect game by any stretch. Neither was 8th edition. Neither was any edition of Warhammer. I miss some certain things about 8th edition, but I don't think I'm going to get on board with 9th. It's just not the direction I want to head. I don't want to learn another game system. If I wanted to play 8th edition, I'd play 8th. And the game police are not going to knock down your door and take away your minis because you're playing a game system that's not supported anymore. It's not going to happen. There are people still playing, earlier editions of Warhammer. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like D&D. There's still people playing 2nd edition D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Just because 5th edition is out doesn't mean you're not playing 3rd or Pathfinder or whatever.
Sure. I mean, for me, because I'm into all the fluff and the pictures and the mythology and stuff. You know what I mean? I think if they brought out some cool pictures to go along with the Ninth Age stuff, it might draw me in a bit.
I'd like for them to have better lore. The history, the lore, the world. You know, the old world was phenomenal. That's probably the thing I miss the most. I loved the setting and the background and the stories. And you could look. There was a lot of tournament play. There was a lot of organized play. There wasn't as much narrative play. And Age of Sigmar really wants narrative play and really wants scenario-based gaming. But and it works best in that environment. The problem is, of course, you know, the old version of Warhammer was just really put into kind of on rails into that tournament competitive game system in most settings that people were introduced to it. If you go to the local store, you know, usually was seeing a tournament. It wasn't usually from casual players who were just, you know, throwing minis on the table and playing. So it really kind of got stuck into that niche. So the people that are really diehard are really, you know, that's what they like. And when that game system ended, that's you know, that's where Ninth Age comes from. It comes from recreating that game in the way that those players want it. But I do miss playing that type of game, and it's hard to kind of wedge that overlay onto Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar is a dynamic game where you can do it. It changes the game. It's a different game. You might as well, in my opinion, just play 8th edition and make some changes if you really want to.
For me, what I lost with 8th edition, which I loved, I was able to find in Age of Sigmar and in Kings of War. Playing both of those kind of satisfies all my needs in fantasy wargaming. So I'm not feeling the pull towards 9th Age at the moment. So that probably does it for me. I think there's just enough out there already that, for me, it wasn't really necessary. I think there's something out there for everyone. Whatever you miss about 8th edition, there's something out there that's catering to that. And for those people who really have that narrow mindset that it really has to be what they had before, I'm not sure whether 9th Age is exactly going to do that, because they've made quite a few changes, haven't they?
Oh my God, it's not. It's unrecognizable compared to 8th edition. It's completely different, and the armies are play completely differently. In some ways, so much differently that I'm amazed that they made those changes. They're so radical. They've really gone. Look, there's a whole council of people, like tons and tons of people. It's almost like they're making a game company. I almost wish they would, because you know, I don't think that GW would be able to go after them, because it's such a different system, the way they're heading. And maybe there's some people at the top of this movement that are looking to incorporate in some way and put out an actual book. Who knows where it goes down the road? Good for them if that's where they're going to head, and if they manage to make that work. Otherwise, I just don't see if it has any real massive growth long term. But
if they could become what the Pathfinder became to D&D, then that'd be great for them.
Could happen. It's happened before, and I think it would be wonderful. It's good for the hobby. Can't be bad for the hobby. But I will stick with Age of Sigmar, even if it's just my son and I playing with the armies we have. If no one else, if everybody that we know that plays stops playing and no one new joined, if you know, worst case scenario, it's a game I could pull out. It's just like pulling out the old Mordheim rules or the old Necromundo rules, and they're, you know, those games are coming back apparently, which is great news. But look how long those games are being played still in stores and in people's houses and their basements and their playrooms. Years down the road, it just goes to show that it's a really good game, and if it really hits with people, it doesn't make a difference if there's a large community. You play what you want.
No, I think the cool thing about Age of Sigmar is that all those people with half-finished armies or just a few painted models could finally get a game in, you know. And I was one of those guys just on the verge of nearly getting a full 8th edition army, all beautifully painted and constructed and based and magnetized and everything, and then everything changed. But
I think you painted enough models to have about 4 full 8th edition armies. It's just spread over about 10 different armies was the problem.
This is true, but now I've got enough in each army to use any one I want. It's kind of fun again, rather than feeling like you've gone this never-ending grindstone. You know, it did feel like a bit of a grindstone 8th edition like that. You know,
someone like you that puts a lot of time into the painting of each individual model rather than the production line. Like, what's the hot unit this month? Right, I need to paint 40 of them by next week for the tournament. Yeah. So for someone like you, it's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, and you know the new minis coming out, they are grand. I mean, they are massive. You know?
They are tremendous.
Fucking massive.
They're fucking massive in every way. You know, the detailing on them is fantastic, man. It's really exciting to see what's going to happen. And remember, the lore, you know, it's very simple at the moment. It's a kind of a new universe, and things aren't explored in any great detail just yet. But it will be, you know, it will be. And there's going to be, you know, they're going to go off on tangents and experiment with things. And if it doesn't work, they'll move it around again. I mean, remember, we've had 30 years of Warhammer Fantasy lore in the old world, and I remember reading White Dwarfs from 25 years ago or more, exploring storylines that kind of didn't hit off, and they were left. You know, I remember one storyline called The Floating Gardens of Babylon, and it was based in Lustria, and it was a bunch of pygmies finding themselves on a floating island, which was like run by, you know, all kind of monsters and maybe some magical slant. And that was never really explored. I loved that storyline, and I actually bought a bunch of pygmy models. But, you know, I think there's probably lots of examples like that that didn't get fully realised.
We haven't even had 30 weeks of Age of Sigmar yet.
Exactly.
Because this is show number 27.
Yeah, and there's so many different directions that I think this game is going to go. Clearly, GW's has a lot invested in it, and we don't know what kind of plans they have. We also don't know how reactive they might be to the community. They've shown little slivers of reaching out and listening, and just small cracks in that armor that I've heard about, and that you guys have even discussed. And maybe that could be that first step towards really kind of engaging in the community. But who knows if they've seen some of the reaction to Age of Sigmar, and maybe they'll do some adjusting to try and appease the old legacy players that have been disenfranchised, and as well as not alienating the people that have invested in it. Who knows? We'll have to see. It's so early in the game. I just don't see them ditching Age of Sigmar and giving up. They have deep-rooted plans, so I'm looking forward to where it goes. With the new specialty games that are coming out, there could be a lot of connections. There could be Mordheim could be in an Age of Sigmar type format. It would work well. It works extremely well. If anybody looks at Warhammer Weekly with Vince and Tom, they're building out. They've been building out and they're on several versions of putting out really well thought out rules. I mean, these guys are game designers. That's their trade, and they put out Age of Sigmar rules onto the Mordheim in the Mordheim theme, and the game is amazing.
Oh man, I wish them guys, were in my community here.
Same here. Man. I wish we didn't have a whole ocean between us. That's one of my resolutions. You guys asked me if I had any dream like Wargaming holiday. What would my dream holiday be? Well, my dream holiday would be if it was Wargaming. We're talking about Wargaming, all right? Because I could go to Hawaii or the Tahiti if I wanted to for the holidays.
You can't get much Warhammering in Hawaii.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah. But if it was a Wargaming holiday season, it would be let's see, it would be bird watching with Reef. Kind of got to get a little. Got to decompress from a long, airplane ride overseas.
Spread your wings a little bit.
Age of Sigmar with you guys, So Frostgrave with Pezapu. That would be a lot of fun. I'm sure there would be a couple of people wound in with that, with a bunch of war bands. Some bolt action maybe with the Beast of War crew. Love those guys. Let's see. If it was Wargaming, it would have to be. Round robin of that kind of stuff.
That sounds great, man. I mean, there was one man who had such a dream, and it's the guy from Blue Table Painting. It's Sean, and he actually pulled it off. And he has. I don't know if it still goes on, but he had an event called Valhalla.
Yeah, I don't think they do it anymore, but they did for a while. They ran those just big events, like in those mountain cabins for all war gamers for all around the world. They'd just fly in and play war games all day.
It looked awesome. It was residential in these beautiful log cabins, and he had all his all fully catering, really nice home cooked food for everyone, just like non-stop gaming for a week.
Yeah, I can't imagine how much money that would cost to go and fly out. Maybe there's a private airport, in the mountains somewhere where my jet could land.
You know what? Maybe if my band gets successful, I could take all us YouTubers and all you guys in the chat rooms. We could all go out there and have some massive, reunion or something. I don't know.
Only the platinum members though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gold membership just gets you the plane journey, and then you get sent home at the airport. So, on that note, Mr. MC, have you got any parting festive words before we kick you out to make space for the next guest?
Well, just have a great holiday season, everybody. Looking forward to the new year, and just have a happy and a healthy for everybody out there watching.
Myself. So it's been wonderful to have you on the show, Mr. MC.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We'll see you in the new year sometime.
A little town of New Jersey where MC1 Gamer lives. He's massive now, not tremendous. He's the gift that likes to give.
And with that, the link has gone out to guest number 3. The countdown begins. Dun, 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 dun. Can you take the suspense?
Who will it be?
Who will it be? How can we possibly top
I don't know. Who will it be?
the tremendous last guest and Krampus poo? Who's it going to be? Benjamin Powell loves my beard, apparently. Let's see. Everyone saying Merry Christmas to Mitch. We echo those sentiments, and Merry Christmas to everyone, in fact. Oh, here we go. We have our third guest of the evening, and he's wearing a hat as well.
Of course.
It's Stu. Hello there.
Hey guys, how's it going?
That's wicked. We've got a resident Highlander in the house.
Okay.
So, of course, everyone who lives in Scotland is in the mountains somewhere where it's snowy, so presumably you're going to have a white Christmas?
No. Haven't had a white Christmas for a good few years now.
You're shattering stereotypes at every turn.
Yeah, everything's white outside. It's totally... No, it's not at all. I think you need to go a wee bit further north for that to get the proper snowiness.
So, are you feeling particularly festive then at this time of year? I can tell by the hat and the outfit, certainly.
Not really, but now that I've put this hat on, it's getting there.
It does, doesn't it? It does something to you.
It does.
It imbues your soul with festive, powerful, holiday-based energy.
It's forcing that Christmas spirit down your throat.
Let's not go crazy now. So, are you going to be getting up to any wargaming over the festive period?
Hopefully before New Year I'll get a game in. But probably not much because everyone's busy this time of year. Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's a good excuse to get some more painting and things done.
What's on your painting table then?
Well, I'm still doing that Budget of Sigmar thing, but I've already done my December's pledge of the Blood Reavers and the Korgorath. So, got the bits box out and a Prosecutor Prime that was going spare, and I made this, which is a sort of converted Celestant Prime.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, yeah, not
Nice.
bad.
Is that a green stuff cloak?
Yeah, the green stuff cloak. And the big rock thing that he's standing on is actually made of Play-Doh.
That is quite impressive. I may have to steal some of your ideas and make one of those.
Yeah, well, I didn't know this, but if you leave Play-Doh out for long enough, it goes rock solid. So
Does it still smell like marzipan?
it does a bit, yeah.
Love it.
Well, just try not to have a nibble on it during the game. As tempting as it might be. It does smell quite delicious, doesn't it?
It does look quite tasty as well.
Let's do second question from me. How's your winning streak going? Because if the audience doesn't know, Stu has not lost a game
I've
Ever.
done.
ever.
Ever since Age of Sigmar came out.
Yeah.
Well, I've only had one game since the last time I spoke to you, and it was another win, I'm afraid. So
Who did you crush underfoot this time?
it was a friend and his undead army, but it was full of zombies and just too slow. So I made good use of the Stormcast Eternal army I painted up
Okay, cool,
a few
man.
months ago. And yeah, the undead without any other big monsters and things aren't really up to the task of fighting liberators and
And have you been adding to your chaos ranks with the Vanguard? Baron?
well, I might the Vanguard. Yeah, I've got those, and I might treat myself to a Christmas present of a certain large winged chaos commander.
Might be £100 worth of present.
That's fine. That's it's worth it. I was in the GW in Glasgow last week, and I saw it for the first time in real life, and it is as beautiful as you think.
Did you look at it kind of like you'd been taken by its power, like the One Ring, just pulling you towards it?
I was lost in his eyes, just sitting, pawing at it.
Speaking of sitting, did you, by any chance, at some point over the last month or so, sit on Santa's lap and request Archaean? As you know, that's the only way to assure that it'll actually be delivered to you on Christmas Eve.
Well, I went for the old-fashioned approach of just sticking it in a letter and posting it, with care of the North Pole, and hope that does the trick. I mean, maybe he's switched email now. I don't know, but
He might have done actually. Has Santa got with the times?
which I imagine he would. He has to be quite a progressive fellow.
I don't know. I can't imagine Santa using an iPad or anything like that. I don't know. It might ruin the illusion because he didn't upgrade to like a helicopter or anything, did he? He stuck with the sleigh.
Yeah, that's true. He does still use a sleigh, not a sort of private jet or anything. No.
Maybe he's a bit behind on all the technology. So, over the years, have you had any memorable, for good or bad, memorable wargaming experiences, like presents, for example?
Presents, yeah, definitely. It would be two, actually, that kind of cemented my love for Warhammer Fantasy. It was when I was 10 or 11, I think, and my mum and dad got me the Battle Masters box game. And that was the first, I suppose that was the first fantasy war game I'd seen and got into. Obviously, being 10, I didn't paint them or anything, and I just kind of stuck them together and moved them around like this.
Did you have space to set that thing up? Because that mat is huge, isn't it?
I did it. The mat is enormous. I can't remember exactly how big it is. It's still sitting in a cupboard over there, but I think it's like maybe not quite 6 by 6, but not far off.
So Steve, let me take you back further into your childhood. Okay, I'm doing that. That will help you remember. What's your first fantasy memory that got you into fantasy things, monsters, battles? I mean,
was it being stroked by a creepy old wizard in the facial region like this?
Did you perhaps get lost or abandoned in a wild mountainous forest in the glades up the north and you saw a big troll?
I'd love to say it was that. Maybe growing up in Scotland did help because all the scenery is not far away, but no. I think it was came from watching all those old fantasy films. Well, I don't want to say Hawk the Slayer, but yeah, that was one of them. But more so something like Conan the Barbarian and like Dragon Slayer and things like that, and especially reading my mum's old copy of The Hobbit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, The Hobbit.
Yeah, but when I was quite young, and that just like stuck like glue.
No, and just for your information, like Conan the Barbarian's on film for tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
In about an hour, I think, something like that.
Ooh, that's definitely worth a watch for anyone that's never seen that. If there is anyone out there that hasn't seen that, that must be impossible.
I don't know, I think my DVD's getting a little bit worn out, so I may just stick to watching it on TV. Although, every time it's on TV, you always seem to sit and watch it.
Yeah.
Even though you've seen it a million times and you've maybe got it, you go, oh, I'll just watch this.
What's your favourite bit in that film? What's your favourite scenario?
Ooh. I think the opening scene is my favourite, actually. There's a lot of great bits with Conan chopping people to bits, but I think the opening scene when he's a little kid and they're making the sword, and then all these raiders turn up that they look like, you know, Chaos Marauders, but
it's very powerful opening, isn't it? That visual where he's pushing like the grinding machine or whatever it is round, and he gets older in each shot.
Yeah, that's just an awesome film, start to finish, and the soundtrack is amazing.
What's your favourite bit, Andy?
Well, other than just the opening, I would say when he bites the neck of the vulture that's trying to eat him. That's amazing. And then finding out later that they actually used a real dead bird to do that.
I thought that was just an urban myth, that it was a real bird, but
no, apparently it's true.
In a weird way, I kind of hope it was true.
And also, that part where he was being chased by the dogs, there's outtakes somewhere where they actually catch up with him. Which must be quite scary as an actor if you've got actual dogs chasing after you. And they catch you because you don't quite get there in time, to the point where you were supposed to escape from them.
Well, Games Workshop did a Thrud the Barbarian.
I've got that model. I actually just got around to painting it about 2 months ago, and I've had it for more than 10 years.
Oh, let's have a look.
I'll go grab it. I don't know how well we'll be able to see it, but...
Now, if anyone knows what Thrud the Barbarian was, it was kind of like, you got the White Dwarf models now, but back in the day you had Thrud the Barbarian, which is basically a Conan ripoff. And I think he was a good guy. I'm 100% on that, but then, you know, he was basically fur-clad and naked with a giant sword.
As they all are. Now, while waiting for him to come back, the people have been apparently voting among themselves on who has the most impressive beard. And Benjamin Powell says that mine is the best because it was carefully grown and it's been there for weeks and everyone loves it. And it's the most real, apparently. So that's why my beard wins.
Just held the word beard there.
Yeah, my beard was voted the greatest in this current hangout by the audience.
Oh, clearly, yeah, it's the most magnificent.
So have you got your Hrud?
Yes, I do. Can you...
Wow.
Yes, that's pretty clear, actually.
He's got this really small head.
It does, yeah. It's exactly how he is in the comics as well.
Wow.
He's got a weirdly tiny head and a massive body. Also got a few months ago when I got inspired to paint it, I actually picked up this as well.
Oh, cool, man.
Which is
graphic novel.
Yeah, it's like all the comics sort of collected into the one book.
What? Let's have a look at some pages there, Stu.
Sure.
What do the pages look like?
That's exactly how you'd expect. It's a the intro page, and yeah, it's just like sort of like comic book style
Wow, wicked.
stuff.
I can see Mr. Remington turning green with envy over there.
I've just seen a new Christmas present to myself.
Well, if it makes it any better, I got it from eBay and it was only £10.
Nice.
Well worth it.
Nice. I mean, there was. I think there was a time you could probably get a whole barbarian regiment, couldn't you? Various bearded fellows with axes and swords, and even women.
Yeah, yeah. I actually got around to painting them because I wanted to start playing Frostgrave, and I saw that on the little sort of selection list for your warband. there's a barbarian character, and I thought, finally, a reason to paint it.
Yeah, it's amazing how gaming can, force you to paint models that have just been sat on the shelves for years.
Yeah, it's been sitting there for long enough, I thought.
Now, before we part with you, Mr. Stew, since you're here at this point in the show, this is where we're going to take a quick trip over to the Games Workshop website.
Cool.
And we're going to look at some of their bundles that are listed as new releases for Age of Sigmar. So, of course, there's Arcane, your Stormcast, your Khorne, but what caught my eye, as we move on down here, Pleasure-Bound Warband. So, that says to me that they're not really downplaying Slaanesh as much as you might think. If they've got a bundle deal built around Slaanesh, now obviously they're going to want to sell models if they've already got them, but it is in there. So, do you think we can read anything into that?
No. No, I think it's just I don't know, more of a gesture for those that still do play Slaanesh. But I don't think we'll be seeing a return for a little while. Oh,
Yeah, you could be right there. What do you think, Mr. Remington?
Love those models. I've got some in myself.
You a bit of a Slaanesh follower?
Not especially, but I like those. I like that unit a lot. I think they're great to paint as well. Good fun. Good ones to paint, and I mean mine come out real nice. So I've got a little soft spot for those. But yeah.
Those were actually some of the Chaos models that I never got around to buying at all. Just because I wasn't quite sure about the steeds. I don't know, something about them I didn't quite like.
They're like giant anteaters, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it is the head that doesn't quite sit right. The rest of the body's fine, the claws are fine, but I don't know.
And of course, I've got bundles galore, Stormcast and Chaos. I think that's pretty much everything they've got. And then, of course, all the various tomes, the Battle Tome, Everchosen. Have either of you got that?
I've not got the Battle Tome yet, no. I did notice on the website, actually, they've got the collected End Times books, and it's just the fluff books altogether, which I thought was quite good.
That's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah.
We should have asked Pezapoo about the Everchosen book, because I'm pretty sure he's got that.
He does, yeah. I saw it on his channel the other day.
Yeah, we'll have to get him on in the future and talk in great depth about that. The old Gaunt summoner here, who I'm not sure if we've ever had a 360 view of him yet. So here we go, spinning away.
Wow, it's expensive though, right? It's a big model.
£24, so it's fairly pricey, but when you look at the price of some of the other models, like the Stormcast individual guys, they're approaching that kind of price as well.
Yeah, I'd say that's actually not such a bad price, considering the other characters they brought out, and this guy's on a big disc.
Yeah, and he's really powerful as well, so I think, the more powerful characters cost more money.
Yeah. And look at all those eyes as well.
Yeah, it's stunning.
That is awesome.
Why have 2 eyes on your head when you can just have all those eyes? I think it's at least 8 just sticking out the side of your head like some kind of hideous
I believe they've got that design work from Guillermo del Toro's movies.
Pan's Labyrinth and things like that.
Yeah.
So, let's stop sharing that then. And we're going to thank Mr. Stew for his presence at this festive time. So if you've got any parting festive words for the people.
Yep, absolutely, guys. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, everyone who is watching and will be watching. And a Happy New Year, and hopefully see you again soon.
Indeed, and ho 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 to you.
We wish you a stewy Christmas. We wish you a stewy Christmas. We wish you a stewy Christmas and an ever-chosen year.
And with that, the link is going out to the next guest of the evening.
Oh, who can it be, Andy?
Who's it going to be? Dun, 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 dun. Well, while we're waiting, let's have a look at the comments. YouTube Newbie says, lovely Slanesh. Dan de Jong, Slanesh lives. So we've got some Slanesh fanatics in the audience. Who would have thought that people commenting on YouTube videos would be fans of Slanesh? That's not at all a stereotype. Let's see. Yeah, people commenting on my beard more and more.
It's a truly international show, isn't it, Andy? We've got guests from Americas. We've got guests from the Highlands and the remotest parts of Scotland. You know?
And now,
ooh,
we have a guest from, I don't even know where that creature could have been spawned from. Look at that. That is quite a beholder there.
Right. Hi.
Yes, of course, it's Dreddy.
Yeah.
Hello.
Could it be I stole that from Dungeons and Dragons Online? So, just not to get into legal trouble that I use their picture.
I love
I'm not
that
saying where it's
whole
from.
And is that a star that you've stolen from somebody's tree that's resting atop your headphones there?
Yeah, this is literally all the Christmas decoration I have on my headphone right now. I have like 2 or 3 more tiny pieces, and everyone who saw my Christmas special pretty much saw all the Christmas decorations that I own.
Yeah, anyone who didn't see that, by the way, should head on over to Dreddy's channel and watch that Christmas special, because it was very well edited. It was reminiscent of a Hollywood blockbuster.
Yeah, I didn't spare any costs with the special effects. They're on par with what the Skywalker Ranch puts out, I think.
Yeah, on par with anything Hollywood could put out today. I'm pretty sure any of the big film studios should really be taking notes when they watch that.
Pretty much.
So, are you feeling festive at this time of year? I know you're generally more of a Halloween person, but are you getting into the Christmas spirit with the help of this show?
Yeah, certainly. I'm in a very festive mood since I clicked play on the video. Because I actually didn't start itself, but yeah.
Oh dear.
I can't actually top the performance that the Krampus did there earlier, so...
Yeah, I don't think anyone should try to do that. I think we've set the bar too high with that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've had some quite incredible Christmas gifts over the years, Wargaming related, from random people.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you want to tell us about any of those? I can think of one in particular that's a bit nurgly. I think that was a Christmas present, wasn't it?
Right, yeah. I have some friends that know that I have a giant Nurgle army with all different factions in it, like Chaos Space Marines and Demons and Traitor Guard and whatever. So, and for the last 2 or 3 years, they always got me something from Forge World, and I'm always... I never know what to say when they give me that expensive of presents. It's always crazy. I think the one year I got the Plague Hulk, it's pretty much the Soul Grinder, just with a big Nurgly fat guy on it with like a pus cannon and everything. And
it's like when the Soul Grinder was like fired from its job and went home and turned into a slob for a few years. That's
yeah, pretty much. It's a mixture of the Soul Grinder and the guy from South Park in the Warcraft episodes.
Yeah.
Anyone remembers that? It's pretty much the Plague Hulk. Then the other year I got the actual Greater Demon of Nurgle from Forge World. That was the best thing I ever got wargaming wise, and it's pretty much the centerpiece of my showcase.
It's way bigger than the regular Greater Demon as well, isn't it?
It's so big, yeah. It's crazy. You could fit 3 normal Greater Demons into that guy if you tried. If you find an aura that is big enough.
Maybe you do that. You could make like Russian dolls out of all the different Greater Demons of Nurgle. And then as it takes wounds, you just take the top off, and then it's a different, smaller one underneath until it's eventually just a Nurgling.
Yeah. There could be the small one from the 80s in there.
Gloomy, I was last week when you were graciously filling in for me. I was in Germany.
Oh.
I went to Germany with my school on a school trip, which was a nightmare. But we spent 2 days. We were in Cologne and Köln.
Mm-hmm.
Achentag.
Achentag, that sounds like an orc tribe.
Achentag. Aachen.
Aachen, yeah, there we go.
We were seeing the Christmas markets over there, but it was just raining and dark and cold. But
Did you drink Glühwein though?
I had some. Yeah, it was a hot drink
Yeah?
in the thick mugs.
Yeah, it's like spicy wine.
Yeah,
Like wine with spices that is served hot. And I have a friend in America who does the sacrilege of buying Glühwein and then serving it cold at Christmas. Like, I couldn't handle that when I heard that. Broke my mind.
I mean, I've got to say, you know, when you're out in the streets in Germany, you just feel good. You feel safe, and everyone's friendly and nice. You know, you couldn't say that about England everywhere you go. I mean, I'm not saying it's like how Donald Trump makes it out to be, like
Right.
kind of a war zone over here, but it's just people are just real nice over there, and it's.
You might have just picked a good part of Germany, though.
Yeah. If you come to Berlin ever, then you will see the dark side of Germany.
All right. Cool, man.
Every country has its dark side.
It's true. It's true.
Are you in Berlin?
I am in Berlin, yeah.
In
the far north of Berlin. Pretty much, I moved to one of the last ghettos we have, now that our other ghettos are being taken over by hipsters and party people. Now that Berlin is a capital.
The Wargaming ghetto of Berlin.
Yeah.
That's where you are. So, have you got a dream Wargaming Christmas in your mind? If you fall asleep on Christmas Eve and you just have a dream about the perfect Wargaming Christmas, what would it be like?
The perfect Wargaming Christmas would be in a little wooden hut somewhere in the forest or in the mountains, and you need to like get your own firewood and actually like chop it up with an axe and have like an oven, and then you have a big gaming table inside that hut, right? So you have no internet, like there can't be any internet there. That's important. At least
Crazy
4
talk.
people with all the armies, and then just playing some cool scenario all night long, some really big scenario, and just possibly getting a bit tipsy while doing that. And I don't know, maybe we could have an old tape deck to listen to music. It has to be tapes though, CDs are not allowed, that's too new.
So no internet and no CDs allowed.
Yes, and snow outside. And it has to be cold as balls, and the toilet has to be outside. It can't be inside. Like, you have to get really cold. It has to be really uncomfortable when you go to the toilet. That has to be part of it.
Yeah.
And then also a barbecue in the snow. That's what we eat. And that would be the perfect.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Someone doesn't make it to the outhouse.
I would recommend just not eating snow at all.
Yeah, right. And yeah.
Gloomy. One question we often ask each other, me and Andy and our guests, and I don't recall us asking you this, but if you could have one fantasy army to be created, what would yours be?
It would be Halloween themed, and I think it might be either dark elves or undead.
I mean to say one that isn't out there already.
Oh, you mean there's a completely made up one?
I don't like fish people.
That would be a Sasquatch army. Just like Sasquatches and Yetis and Bigfoots and abominable whatevers. And so just big hairy dudes.
Love it.
The closest thing, there's that one ogre unit. That big hairy guy, and every single one's in the same pose with him, like waving to his friend at the end.
Gorgeous. They actually have Yeti models, but yeah, I don't like them. But that would be a cool army. You could have guys that just throw rocks, like from behind, and you could have like big beefy Bigfoots that just go in and punch people in the face. And
they should have a special rule as well. If they go into the woods, then they can just disappear.
Yeah.
And come back later.
Yes. Oh, that would be amazing, right? Just
what's the difference between a Sasquatch and a Yeti?
The Yeti apparently is a Sasquatch that lives in the snowy mountain regions and has white fur. And the Sasquatch is more of the forest type creature, I guess.
Like a
There's
big kind of humanoid bear, almost.
there's crazy people out there that believe in all kind of Bigfoot stuff. Like some say that Bigfoot is like an interdimensional being that can teleport and is not even really physical. They pretty much think Sasquatch is Jesus. So the general would have been like, I don't know, that must be just a Sasquatch that can teleport and like heal people. And
I think I saw that. I watched that on Ancient Aliens, and they were saying that the Yeti or the Sasquatch was like a scout for the grey aliens.
Yeah, it's like their worker drone or their scout or whatever, yeah. I'm big into stupid, like paranormal stuff. I just find it super entertaining. It's like watching X-Files, but yeah, I'm not personally a believer, but I find it super
Okay. So
entertaining.
you've got in your Yeti Sasquatch army, what are the big monsters in that army if they're the foot soldiers?
Ah, that's
Super
hard.
Sasquatch.
And do you have any flying creatures?
Let's see. I think Sasquatch might be friend with a lot of animals, so there might be like big mountain bears in there and grizzlies.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And there needs to be something small in it. And other races have like snotlings or nurglings or I don't know, like snake swarms. And just for the fun of it, like the Sasquatch, they would have like rabbit swarms, just like bunnies on big bases, just hordes of bunnies, rabid bunnies that bite people in the ankles.
Maybe they
I don't know why.
They could throw flea balls.
And I don't know, flying creatures, that would be hard because there's rarely a creature Sasquatch related that flies, but there's a lot of crypto, like animals that fly, like Mothman, having Mothman in there.
I like it.
Yes. The Mothman Chronicles, who hasn't read it? If you don't do it, you don't miss much. If you do it, it's hilarious. But
Okay, well, what about a Sasquatch war machine?
a Sasquatch war machine. I haven't heard
A
a lot.
Sasquatch teleporter.
A Sasquatch teleporter, yeah. I don't know. I imagine the Sasquatches being like akin to wood elves. Like they don't use much technology or artificial constructs, so it must be a big creature that like naturally throws something, or just a big thing like a mammoth, maybe, or just I don't know. That's hard to say.
Yeah, I think someone's just said Warhammer Army's Sasquatch. You heard it here first. YouTube newbie said that. So I think we could turn that into an ongoing project. While
Yeah,
Mr. Remington temporarily walks off like a Sasquatch.
I actually created one unit for that army, but I gave it away. It was an army just of like Yetis. I think I gave it to Jessica Pink as a thank you for making the music for my intro.
And Yetis are quite festive as well, being in the snow and everything. Snow
Yeah,
being an integral part of Christmas, even though it never actually snows on Christmas Day.
Yeah, they have snowball fights all day. And if they don't find snow, they just use poop or something. I don't know.
Maybe they could have just like giant reindeers that the cavalry.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. Or elk or something, yeah.
Maybe Santa is actually a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
If he's an interdimensional being, that would explain how he's able to be in everyone's bedroom at the same time.
Yeah, it's true. And his human face is just like a latex mask or something.
Yeah, if anyone captured Santa and it turned out he was actually Bigfoot.
I actually endorse that idea. I think Santa is Bigfoot right now. That's my new conspiracy theory right here. Santa
we need a website on that.
Yes.
Now, have you got any Wargaming New Year's resolutions for this year?
Yeah. Getting the rest of my models painted and not buying new models until I've done that. Luckily, there's only a few night goblins left, and let's see. And one unit of ogres for Kings of War, and I think one or two orc shamans, and then I can actually buy new stuff.
Yeah, I need to get a lot of things painted next year. A lot of unpainted models all over this room that need to be worked on before I buy anything else.
I was so good this year. I didn't buy a single model for quite a while now. I just painted everything I had, and I'm down to those few models now. So
Wow.
I just want to start the next year fresh, if I
Right.
can.
Also, while we have you here, I would like to personally thank Druddy for sending me this amazing wrestling action figure in the post, which has real stompy action, as you can see.
Yeah.
Actually stomps for real. And I don't know whether I had one exactly like this back in the day, or whether my brother had one like this, but we sold all our wrestling action figures, sadly. I used to have millions of them.
Yeah.
So he's watching over me forever now.
That's
Next
good.
to this little action figure, which I found earlier while looking for my Santa hat, which is my tiny little Yoda.
Oh, I had the same. I sold it though. I had the
Yeah,
same.
and
Yeah,
that's-
tiny walking stick.
And this is all I'm going to say about Star Wars until right at the end of the show when we have the special Star Wars spoiler section.
Right. Did you get that in the set with Luke, where you could put Yoda in his backpack and just have him
He
sit
came
on it?
in a backpack, yes, but I don't think I got Luke with it.
Oh, I think I got both. Like, not in one bag. I think I bought them both, but yeah.
I think I must have got like the Yoda accessory pack, and he
I
just
think
came
I got
separately with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah.
And what do you think about the fact that you found yourself on the nice list from Krampus Poo?
I didn't expect anything else. I sent him quite the big amount of money to Krampus Land, together with the severed heads of some of his enemies, of the especially nice children that he hates visiting every year. So I got rid of those for him. And yeah, I will just be on the nice list for at least 10 years now, so I can do what I want.
The Krampus is quite a big deal in Germany, isn't it?
Not really in Germany. It's more like remote mountain regions that still celebrate like Krampus Day, and it's the best day ever. I wished we had it here. It's just adults dressing up as this creepy hairy guy with horns and this devil mask, and they just have a parade through the street and just scare all the children shitless. It's amazing. Like
Sounds
they
like G3
won't,
stuff.
yeah, like they won't do any shenanigans for the rest of their lives after one Krampus night. I would so participate in that.
I think we've been personally responsible for completely changing the behaviour of multiple people, and maybe their children if they're also watching, after they were threatened with the idea of the Krampus Poo climbing down their chimney and inflicting some terrible mischief upon them.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants that.
Krampus is great. He puts naughty children in his sack and beats them with a cane. He boils them alive, and he does quite some other things. So we have amazing traditions in Germany. It's quite jolly.
Yeah, not very PG traditions, are they?
Yeah.
So, on that note, we're going to start saying goodbye to Druddy, and I think that Mr. Remington has been preparing a little outro for you.
Gloom Dready, how cool have you been? Gloom Dready, you're the finest female gamer that I've ever seen.
Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure to be part of this tremendous Christmas special, and I hope you have a wonderful evening and a great rest of the show.
We certainly shall. And with that, I am going to send the link to what could end up being our final guest. It's gone out. The link has gone. We'll see if there is a response. So, how have you liked the show so far, Mr. Remington?
Yeah, it's been nice and chilled, man. It's been cool. I mean, has everyone been voting for the Channel of the Year award?
Well, I would certainly hope that everyone has been voting for the Andy and Rim show.
Here he is. And with that note, here comes the main man, the Grand Wizard of Warhammer.
Here he is. It's the ghost of Christmas past, if you will.
Absolutely. How you doing there, gentlemen? It's good to see both of you on this festive, happy Christmas.
We are doing fine. And how are things over in Vincetown?
Vincetown is good, as usual. I'm going around the town spreading joy to all who seem in need of it. That's what I bring.
Do many people seem in need of joy in your town? I'm sure it's quite a go-getting kind of place.
No, fortunately, everybody's really happy, which makes my job easy. That's really what I like. Just basically as little work as possible. So that's I tried to move to the happiest place. Cuts down on the workload. That's how I run it.
Vince, just looking at your room right now, I'm seeing things I've never seen before. I've just seen that beautiful like mural on the wall, and possibly the most organized gaming table I've ever seen. Painting and modeling table I've ever seen.
That's disorganized right now for me, my friend. Let me tell you what. Yes, the mural is it's a giant mural wallpaper of Matt Smith's TARDIS from the 5th season of Doctor Who.
Nice. Who's your favorite Doctor?
Matt Smith.
Oh, all right.
The modern approach there.
Absolutely. Everything from the 80s is cute, but it's just, come on now. Don't ever go back. Your 7-year-old self remembers it really great, but don't watch it now. Just keep it in your memory, where it's perfect and wonderful.
For me, always.
I think I've only seen about 2 episodes of the new Doctor Who over the last few years, so my memories are pretty much all the old ones. So I think I'm going to keep those intact for as long as possible.
Well, there you go. As I understand it, the Christmas special for that is, that's a holiday tradition there. Speaking of to bring this back around to our current topic, that's as old a tradition as Santa Claus himself. So there you go.
So Vince, just a question for you. How would you sum up this whole year? Because it's been such an eventful time.
Yeah, sure. So how do we sum up 2015? I would sum up 2015 by the following. It is proof positive that the community is super strong and full of a lot of great people. Because, look, the change that we had to go through this year, let's go back to the beginning of the year. What was happening? We've got our end times going on, right? Craziness, world's turning upside down, these insane books are coming out, rules are nuts, and then all the 9th edition rumors, and it's madness, and then Age of Sigmar happens, and then the 9th Age happens, and I'm still friends with everybody who I was friends with before. I'm still sitting here with you two wonderful gentlemen. In my opinion, yeah, we had some names maybe leave for a little while or try some new stuff, but all that did is broaden everybody's horizon. Most people are still around making great content, and I think everybody has a better vantage point on games now. There's more games to play, more games to suit more types of people. It's a great world. We are on the verge of the golden age of gaming. There you go. 2015, birth of the golden age.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can certainly say, Vince, like, for the first 6 months of the year, I think there's never been a more hyped and anticipated release. And the amount of speculation about what was to be Age of Sigmar was immense.
Oh, absolutely. Look, you put it, it's like one hand, 9th Age / Age of Sigmar, other hand, Star Wars. What was bigger hyped? I'm going Warhammer all the way. Forget that Star Wars nonsense.
There was that month just before Age of Sigmar officially hit that just went completely nuts, because obviously some people who are likely to leak information were able to get their eyeballs wrapped around it and then passed on little snippets here and there, and some bits were wildly exaggerated. But that just started off that feverish kind of whirlwind of information and misinformation that, of course, we on this show cashed in on with no shame and doubled the subscriber base in about 2 months.
The two rumours that came true that were, for me, were the round bases that I got completely wrong because I thought that would never happen, and the second one was Holy Knights, which turned out to be the Sigmarites.
Oh, Holy Knights.
Indeed. Again, seasonally appropriate. Way to tie it in, Ram, as usual. Masterful hostmanship there. Let me tell you, what I loved about the rumor season, other than, yes, you're right, it was great. I mean, I love all the rumors and secret keeping and guessing. It's a tremendous amount of fun. But at the same time, I love that 95% more or less of the rumors were just dead wrong. Just everything was wrong. And how great was that? It was clearly just a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands making up just insanely detailed theories. Like, you got to give them credit for just how there would just be pages of just nonsense. It's great.
The really big one was that you could kind of change your formation from loose to a kind of tight formation. And, I mean, technically you can, but there aren't really those rules benefits that people were attributing to that particular rumor. So that didn't come true. What was some of the other crazier stuff that actually didn't come true in the end?
Oh, the Nigmos, obviously. That whole rumor set was a fun one. Nice. Everything there with the new like underwater orcs or whatever, basically the river orcs and just everything else insane that was in that one. That was my favorite.
So, someone in the comments a second ago was saying that people should go and look at your Archaean. Now,
yes.
Have you got a completed Archaean in picture form somewhere on the internet that people should look at?
I am depressed that you have not seen this Archaeon. I do. Would you like me to just, well, if you want, I can share it, or it's out on the PMP and on the Warhammer YouTubers.
Well, if you want to share it, you can go ahead. But I have been avoiding pretty much the entire internet because I only just saw Star Wars today. So I've been avoiding all forms of social media for the last week or so.
Well, that is fair. I can empathize with that. Certainly, who wants... Yeah, you don't want anything spoiled, and spoilers do come in insane places.
They certainly do. But not on this show. Not until the specified period of the show later on, folks.
Alright, so here you go. I'll share up my Archaeon. Alright.
We've got a million Vinces there, and there's the Archaeon. Now, Pez has got a lot to live up to if he's going to try and top this one.
So obviously I converted mine over to be writing a new and improved Galrock because I wanted him on there. I wanted him Tzeentch themed. So he's in line with the rest of my my Tzeentch themed Warriors of Chaos army. So he has the Stormcast head and everything's storm themed. So hence his cloak and his sword and his color scheme matches that. We added some shoulder pads because sweet dudes have shoulder pads. And obviously we gave him some nice spittle. Things like that. Just lots of little fun things.
Yeah, what are the different heads from?
Those are the various dragon heads, like High Elf and Dark Elf dragons. So I think 2 of them are the Black Dragon heads, and I think 1 of them is the High Elf dragon head.
Now, are any of your friends currently fielding armies with mysteriously headless dragons and crude saw marks in the necks where you've hexed them?
No. Fortunately, I have a giant bag of dragon heads, like a really huge bag of dragon heads. I'm sharing my screen right now, but I have all the dragon heads I would ever want, as well as like 40 phoenix heads and phoenix tails and stuff like that.
Are you actually a slayer by any chance?
It's exactly correct. I've marched around the old world collecting these. I have a trophy wall. It's a lot of work, but you do what you got to do. There's his base. That guy doesn't have his head, of course, because the middle guy ate it. You can see just a little bit of blood there where he ate it. And let's see, there's top down, and there's the back of him.
Wow, I mean, Vince, you've really outdone yourself, man. That is unbelievable.
Are those wings airbrushed by any chance?
They are everything brushed. Yes, so I use an airbrush for base, but they are brushed, layered, glazed, dry brushed, washed. I mean, it's back and forth through every technique. On a model of this size, you pretty much use everything all the time, constantly.
What was it like to paint, Vince? Was it a labour of love, or was it fairly easy going? What do you think?
Oh, I loved painting this model. Yeah, he was absolutely awesome. You'll notice, too, that he doesn't have, like, I left his... Let me see if I can get back to a picture that's actually showing him from the front here. There we go. Okay, so I left the skulls poking out from his stomach because I thought that was an interesting aesthetic. But you'll notice he doesn't have any of the other skulls showing out through his arms or legs or anything like that. All because I hate that. I think that looks gross and awful. He's supposed to be a big, cool dragon, so all that was green stuffed over and smoothed out and gotten rid of. I don't mind it in the belly because it's like the soles poking out from where they're sitting in his stomach, but the rest of the body was just, it's upsetting. I don't like it, so I changed it.
Right, it's quite a tremendous paint job for a model capable of tremendous damage.
I mean,
if you're curious as to how big he is, there's your size comparison next to the Celestant on Dracoth.
He has got no chance, man. Wow, I mean, Vince, I've just for the last year or so, I've been looking at the miniatures you put up, and I don't know, I can say that I think you're just getting better and better all the time, man.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I try to push myself constantly. That's what it is. Like, always try new things. You're going to get it wrong half the time. Who cares?
Now, before we ask you a couple of festive questions, Did you get our generous donation regarding the Warhammer YouTuber Awards?
Of votes and or of mentions. That's
well,
what
our generous financial backing, shall we say?
I see. No.
Okay, because we did at least attempt to redirect the account that brings in all the funds from our platinum memberships and kind of siphon some of that off your way quietly under the table, but you didn't actually let us know whether it was successful or not, so we had to bring it up in this rather public arena, quite embarrassing.
Well, I'm sure I haven't spoken to my financial advisor for Warhammer Weekly yet, to my hedge fund, Warhammer Weekly manager, so I'm sure that I'm sure the funds have all been received. And are probably in holding in an offshore account, of course, where I keep everything.
Now, Vince, I have a rather serious question, and that is, from last year's award show,
yes,
all of the winners have subsequently fallen out or disappeared or stopped making Warhammer content.
Well, not all. I would say that certainly Once Bitten won an award last year, and he's still making stuff. Ant has come back recently, and he won stuff. But yes, there's been a lot of shakeup. That's what I'll say. The list is much different this year. But if you haven't voted yet in the Warhammer YouTubers, what are you doing? Go vote, people. I want to see more votes. We did beat last year's number of respondents already, and I want to triple it. I want to quadruple it. There's never enough. I want everybody in the community to vote. So get out there and go vote.
I remember last year I was just a YouTuber, just infrequently putting out content and just looking at stuff, and I was a consumer mainly. But a lot of the time I heard people saying that it's really hard to make consistent content. And since I've been doing this show with Andy, or since Andy's been doing this show with me, I can understand what they were talking about. It is very hard to consistently put stuff out there every single week, and I've not been able to manage it because of my job, but just, it is tough.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at people in the community like Doom and Darkness, Victor Case, these guys, and like Tabletop Minis, those kind of guys, where they put out just such regular stuff every week, good content, entertaining stuff, fun stuff to listen to while you paint. I mean, I have just nothing but respect for everybody who's on there. And we've got a lot of new people coming into the community. So again, like it's just been a year of growth. It's actually been pretty good, despite having that dark period there in the middle. There's more subscriptions that I'm actively watching now than I was, 8 months ago.
A lot of fresh blood.
Exactly.
Now, to get this back on the festive trail, have you got any incredibly memorable Wargaming-related Christmas gifts that you've received or given over the years?
I'm going to say Christmas 1989, and that was when I had just read the Hobbit, and I had read the Fellowship of the Ring, first book, over the summer and then fall, and then I saw this advertisement on television for a game called Hero Quest, and I was like, what is this amazing thing here that is letting me do what I've just read in that book? And my parents got me Hero Quest for Christmas, and I remember very excitedly reading the rules, over and over again, and setting up the board and mapping out the dungeons and stuff in the week after Christmas, which led into actually D&D for me instead of directly into Warhammer, but still an incredibly important gift in the history of my wargaming.
Hero Quest certainly changed a lot of lives.
I would fully support a Hero Quest re-release. But Hasbro still has the patent on that, or the trademark on that, not GW. So.
Well, there is Dungeon Saga out there.
It's true.
And I would heartily recommend it. I haven't got around to actually painting any of the miniatures from the Kickstarter yet, but that's because I'm heavily backed up on a million other models on this table. Need to be done first. So I'm sure I'll get to them.
One thing we haven't done is ask our guest if they have any questions for us.
Sure. So I have a question for you. Yes. What are you hoping? What's your number one wish to Santa for the Andy and Rem show in 2016? What's going on the Andy and Rem show's Christmas list that you want to see in the next year?
Well, I can tell you what my number one is. It's something we haven't been able to pull off yet. We haven't been able to gather in the elusive Mr. Reef onto the show because as we know, he's been incredibly busy out there watching birds. And we just haven't been able to reel him in. It's kind of a mixed analogy I've got going on there. You get the idea.
That's a good one because he was just stunning when he was your guest on your show, Vince.
He's an amazing guy, and just one of my favorite people in the world. Yeah, he's awesome, and we all miss him. Come back, Reef Beast Man. Give us some more stuff.
I mean, for me, I would like to get. I mentioned it before, but I'd like to get the guy from Blue Table Painting on as a guest. I think he's funny, and whatever you think about his channel and his company and what he does, he puts videos out every day, every single day, and whether that's plugging his company or not, I just think it's amazing, the energy and the the commitment. He's gone through marriage breakups. He's gone through philosophical debates throughout the years. I think it's quite fascinating.
And the way
Absolutely, I don't think there's anything wrong with all that. Like, yeah, it's the commitment, right? That's what it is. It's exactly what you were talking about earlier. Like, nothing wrong with marketing your brand, and he's committed in producing content. It's a good thing.
The way he and all his people approach wargaming as well, that should lend itself perfectly to Age of Sigmar. I mean, I haven't been keeping up as much with their channel recently, so I'm not sure what kind of coverage they've been giving Age of Sigmar. But last I checked, it wasn't getting a huge amount of air over there. Maybe it's not necessarily a good thing for commission painters, Age of Sigmar, because people can just pick and choose interesting models, smaller numbers of them, maybe things they're interested in painting themselves, not just because it's super powerful. There's no necessity to have 300 clan rats in your collection now. So maybe the role of the commission painter in this particular game has diminished a little bit.
I mean, I've got another question for you, Vince, and that is that your community where you live, it just sounds really exciting. I mean, it sounds like you get regular games in, and there's, your buddy Thomas, what you're doing with him is fantastic, with all the, the Mordheim thing you put together, and, tell me a little bit more about it, the community where you are and the gaming you're getting.
Sure. So Columbus is actually which is where I am, Columbus, Ohio. It's actually a really good gaming community. We have an absolutely amazing gaming store. There's a lot of good people there. The game store has a lot more 40K than like if you're a 40K player, you're in heaven here because they do a regular night. I mean, there's just probably 14 tables full of people playing games every single week. But there's a lot of 9th Age interest. I get to play a lot of Age of Sigmar with my group of friends. I have good 4 or 5 people who regularly want to play. This time of year is a little tough because everybody's now of the age where they have kids and commitments and stuff like that. So less time, and we actually get less time to play in the holidays. But during the rest of the year, I usually get 1-2 games in every week. It's usually Mordheim or Age of Sigmar. And it's a good group of guys. I've known them for 20 years. We've been playing war games for most of that 20 years. So it's very comfortable. It's very fun. Nobody's beardy. It's all just, people who want to trot some stuff out, push some plastic soldiers around, and have a good time punching your friends in the face.
And is there any army that you've not played or would like to play against more?
Is there any army that I haven't played? Yeah, sure. I mean, there's definitely several I haven't played, just by nature of I never really had a Beastmen army, so that was like the one that I didn't ever really play against or with. But since I'm building up a Beastman army for the new year, in next year. So for instance, this guy that I just put together today, this big Avatars of War Beast Lord guy, which is really cool. This came from a subscriber of the channel, the Red Wizard. So thank you very much, sir. It was awesome. Very excited to paint him. So I'll get that done. So there you go. Haven't played Beastmen enough, and I'll get to play them in the new year. So there it is.
That's all. I mean, speaking of gifts, it's like that's kind of cool that you're getting people sending you stuff. I mean, no one sends me anything. Bill, that's what.
Well, to be fair, it was a nice trade. He asked me to help him out with something. I was more than happy to do it. I said, you don't have to do anything. I love helping people out as much as I can. That's just part of the community. And then he surprised me with that afterward. And again, it wasn't. I'm eminently grateful for something like that. That is by no means necessary. I don't do this because I want people to send me anything. I do this because I love interacting with everybody in the community. We have a wonderful corner of the internet. The internet is generally a cesspool of scum and villainy, and we here in the Warhammer community have carved out this wonderful little corner full of positive, happy people who want to share they're great experiences, and I'm proud to be a member of it.
Do you think, for being the figurehead of that community, being one of the figureheads, along with the likes of us, do you feel you deserve to be on the nice list this year, or do you think because of your coverage and a little bit of facilitation of ninth age, maybe you've made your way onto the naughty list?
Well, if they both stop by the house together, you know, like if both Santa Claus and Krampus stop by together, then I figured they'll get in some kind of epic fight, and I can just make off with all the packages and jump out the window, steal a sleigh, get out of there. I'm good to go. It's all upside for me. So I think the middle's where you want to be.
That's not a bad one, actually. If you really go straight down the line and kind of get them fighting over you,
yeah,
that could be the way to go.
Vince, I've got a really quick question for you. Who's the toughest opponent you've ever faced?
The toughest opponent I've ever faced. Well, I faced most members of the Warhammer YouTuber community, so you're gonna make me like really pick somebody out here. But honestly, Once Bitten is the most fun, like strategically tactical, difficult player I've ever played in a single game. He's such an introspective player and very smart, and that's not to say the rest of them weren't. And that little tour I did where I went around and played all of them, everybody who's out there putting up videos, all of them were absolutely great players. And none of them were like, oh, push over. That didn't happen.
Interesting you say him, because I think he picked two of the weakest armies, didn't he, when he was doing all his 8th edition stuff in Beastmen and Bretonnians. They were classically seen as like the worst ones competitively, right?
Oh, and that's pure Johnny. That's what he is right there, right? Like that he's that brand of Johnny that has the underdog spirit. He wants to beat you knowing he's using like a less powerful force, because then he wins twice.
So, do you think he would have won more competitions then if he'd chosen a tougher army then?
Probably, yeah. But then he wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, I suspect, right? Like if he was running some whack walk list that was just like a bunch of ridiculous, the rugby team of chariots and Nurgle demon prince and garbage, I think he wouldn't have had a good time. He might have won more at a certain point, but he would have probably hated it.
All right, well, final question for me, Vince. Where do you see us being in a year's time?
The community, you personally, you and I together, Rem, when I come over and move in with you and we start a third rock band together? Like, what do you mean?
Welcome to, man. We're gonna, yeah, man. We'll write an album together.
I want to be your hype man. That's what I want to be. I'll walk out on the stage first and just be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta get everybody get ready for my boy here. Mr. Remington Steele gonna come to the stage.
Love it.
That's what I'll do for you.
Love it, man. What about Age of Sigmar? What do you see? Do you think there's going to be new races coming out? What do you see?
And those crystal balls of yours.
Plus, people think you work for Games Workshop, so I take it you're a good source of information here, right?
Well, yeah, sure. My secret employment, absolutely. Yeah, you'll see. I think it'll be a great year. We'll be sitting here a year from now, absolutely stunned at everything that got released. My guess is, if I was just going to put raw guesses, and I'll do it from most solid to least solid, you're going to see, obviously, new dwarves. You're going to see new siege. I think that's pretty much set. I suspect you'll see probably a new destruction force of some kind, although I don't know what form that'll take. I think they'll leave off death mostly, although we'll probably get some kind of death repack. Like they'll repack a bunch of death stuff because it's just on the line. And I think they will do a new force. I don't know what that new force is, but I think there will be a new combatant will enter the fray. Probably a bad guy new force, because or that is to say, not order at least, since we got the Stormcast and it was a completely new order force. The bad guys are going to respond in kind. So that's what I would say. That'll be their sexy release for this year. And then also all the specialist games we're going to get. I'm confident we'll get at least 2 specialist games out this year, maybe 3.
Do you think they'll go with the big guns like Blood Bowl?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Blood Bowl will definitely be one of the. I think Blood Bowl and Necromunda will be sort of the first 2 up.
Nice. And what do you think? Adding another question, what do you think about the the PC game that's coming out?
The Battlefleet Gothic or Blood Bowl or what?
No, the Warhammer Fantasy one.
Oh, okay, Total War. Sorry. Yeah. There's a lot of Warhammer games coming out. Yeah, Total War looks awesome. I'm not a huge fan of the way that they've decided to release it, with like having a very small core group of things, and then the other ones you sort of pay for with DLC. But the gameplay looks really good. I'll say that. So I mean, you know, for what's there, it looks like it's very solid. I just wish I got more in the box, but isn't that always the case? We always want more. That's life.
Yeah, the way that particular industry has gone in recent years, there's very rarely a game that comes out that you can look at it and say this is a complete product. Right. There's always something else just tugging that last couple of coins out of your wallet. There's always more to be purchased, microtransactions and so on.
Of course, it buys them time as well. You know, it keeps people in jobs.
That's one way of looking at it, certainly. So, now I'm led to believe that Mr. Vince has some festivities to see to shortly. So
I do.
We're not going to keep you much longer. So, Mr. Remington, have you got a little song in tribute?
I have, my friends. Vince, thank you very much for nominating us for the award, and of course the overall award, which I'm sure you'll announce soon as the best channel. Full stop. But yeah, this one's for you. There's a place I'd like to go. It's a man cave, we all know. It's a place where a magic man hosts a Warhammer show. Don't you know it? Vince Ventura's coming to town. Oh yeah, Vince Ventura's coming to town. Vince Ventura's coming to town.
I think all we can say to that is
absolute pleasure.
Close enough.
Have an excellent, excellent day, both of you, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a good New Year to both of you.
We shall. So, I think it's time to remove the hat. It's time to remove the beard. Sort out the hair a little bit, which is getting a bit wayward at the moment. So, before we depart, there are a couple of other business items to be dealt with. First things first, we're going to have a little outro of the episode, but then after that, we're going to have a little quick discussion about the new Star Wars. So first, obviously, some people are going to depart before that because they don't want to be spoiled because they haven't seen it yet. So before we do that, we'll say goodbye to the audience, and then I'll perform a little song that I've prepared in the festive spirit, and then we'll break into that discussion afterwards. So let's see what comments we've had in the last few minutes. It's just been a ton of people talking among themselves about Necromunda, the different gangs that they like. They do kind of derail the chat and start having their own little topics in there while we're talking about other things. We've got, more Necromunda. Benjamin Powell says, our boy Rem. Not sure exactly what he's getting at there. Let's see. Dan de Jong wants to see Battletome free peoples. Yeah, I think we do need some relatable humans in Age of Sigmar, so we can get behind that, can't we?
I'm seeing a few posts saying send Rem things. Yeah, that's brilliant, guys.
Nice things, not weird things. I mean,
yes, I do have a halfling army, by the way, which is kind of redundant right now.
Now, we have a few people in here whose names we haven't necessarily seen before, or we have, but not very often. We've got the likes of Retrotopia. We've got Ross Figure Painting. I'm led to believe that is actually his real name, by the way. That's on his birth certificate. We've got Zeno. Don't think we've seen that person in here before. There's Oliver Charles, familiar name. A few people dropped in partway through the show tonight. Do people not know we always start at the same time? Crazy people. Let's see. Hooves of Doom. I think he commented earlier, but there he is commenting away there. Wayne Caitlin appeared halfway through, I think. So, thanks to all our wonderful audience. It's been a festive treat for all, especially you guys, of course. And Mr. Remington, have you got any farewell festive wishes for them, for all the people that are going to depart before the Star Wars discussion?
Yeah, I've just been writing it earlier on the discussion. You know, you guys are just the reason why we do this show. At least the reason why I do this show. I mean, you get sent stuff and you get, like, you know.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a financial incentive for me, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, I just want to produce more content for you guys. I mean, it's difficult to motivate myself to do it, but I want to thank you as well, Andy, because through you, I've been able to express my love of this hobby. And I hope we can get more games in, because you are a mighty opponent.
Tremendous opponent.
A tremendous opponent. And yeah, I want to get some more games in and show you guys, show off to you guys my painting skills, which is also tremendous sometimes. So yeah, thanks everyone, and let's keep this hobby alive. And don't be shy to vote for the Andy and Rem show.
Right, it's time for my outro song, but don't forget to stick around if you want to hear all about our Star Wars thoughts. So here we go. It's the Andy and Rem show, and it's on a Tuesday night. Our loyal viewers sit and watch in exquisite delight. Without us they'd surely be bored and cry away the night. So sit and be entertained and informed, So sit and be entertained and informed. Okay. Now, just to let people know that they should be departing, I am going to do this. There we go. So anyone who does not want to have Star Wars spoiled for them should be heading out of the video right now.
Trust me, if you've not seen it yet, someone spoiled it for me. I was just like an idiot. I looked through Facebook and they put like one of those pictures up with just like words on. They usually have like poems or like thoughts of the day or like life skills. And this guy just put the 3 biggest spoilers on there, and I'd seen it and it kind of, But nevertheless, I saw the film myself last night, and apart from the person beside me eating smelly popcorn and ruining the first half hour, and the sound not being loud enough for a spectacular film like this, it was amazing. I loved it, and I want to watch it again.
It was. Now, while I tell you a little bit about my avoidance of the spoilers, Mr. Rem, would you like to give yourself a bit of a warning lower third for people so they can see when, if they just log in and watch the video while you're talking, they might not be able to see me, if you know how to do that.
I'm working on that.
So for me, I knew I wasn't going to be able to watch it immediately because I was just exposing the lady to episodes 4, 5, and 6 over the last week in preparation to go and see it. So the earliest opportunity we had was tonight, and I didn't see any spoilers at all. I saw a few Facebook posts, and as soon as I saw the word Star Wars, I immediately just averted my eyes, and I stuck mainly to non-social media websites. I didn't even look on YouTube that much because I knew there was going to be like video titles that would be such as such and such a character gets hand cut off, because that's a usual Star Wars thing. Someone generally loses a hand, or this character dies, shocking reaction videos, things like that. So I did well to avoid all the spoilers. So I saw it tonight. You saw it last night, so we're fresh.
Yep.
You said you loved it. I thought it was very, very good as well. Within the first 10 minutes, I could tell that I was going to like it because immediately, almost, within the first 10 minutes, you learn more about the 2 main characters than you learnt about the main characters in the prequels over the course of 3 entire films. You knew what the motivation of those characters was as soon as they had their first couple of scenes, didn't you? You understood, you were inside their mind.
And those scenes were just spectacular, just visually spectacular as well, especially with the female character and the ginormous landscapes, and she was just scavenging for just a basic meal. And yeah, it was just brilliant. And with the guy that, what's his name? John Boyata, who plays this turncoat stormtrooper, it's just really, really good. I mean, I've got 3 minor criticisms of the whole film, which I suppose we'll come to in a bit, but they're kind of minor. But I'm really looking forward to the watching it again, actually, without the smelly popcorn guy next to me.
It was very striking, though, because in the original trilogy, in the first one, in particular, episode 4, as soon as you're introduced to a character, it gives you a snippet. You don't need their entire backstory because you've got that little piece of their life, which is all you're ever gonna get in a film. So you need to get all the information you want in there. And that's one of the things that was definitely lacking from the prequels, wasn't it? Because there were a lot of characters, if you could even call them that. You went through the entire film and you never really felt like you could describe their personality. Would you agree?
Yeah, you knew Han Solo was cool, and you wanted to be him.
But with those ones, you identified their personalities and their relationships. I'm talking about the episode 1, 2, and 3. You couldn't really get into the characters.
Do you know if they were shot on film like these new ones and the really old ones were? They might have done something. Well,
the actors could have brought more to it if there was actual sets.
Absolutely, because there's no doubt in the caliber of acting from Liam Neeson and the guy that plays Gimli in Lord of the Rings. I can't remember the actor's name. He's a Welsh guy. He's in Raiders of the Lost Ark as well. He's in those Star Wars films, isn't he? He's the kind of frogman, leader, or his voices.
They had some fine actors in episodes 1, 2, and 3.
The Emperor is an unbelievable actor. I thought he was amazing. There are great performances there, but unfortunately, it probably looks a bit dated now, which is strange. It looks more dated than the originals.
Yeah, it was overly shiny, and that was one thing that wasn't there in this one that we just saw.
But you've got to
things weren't really shiny.
No, you've got to put into context as well that George Lucas had built this empire from his, this Star Wars marketing empire, really, from his own imagination and the people that he worked with, and he was at the forefront of cutting edge innovation in cinema with the green screen stuff and all he did. So it was his playground to do with as he chose. But who would know at the time that people would go all retro and want real things blowing up?
What did you think about the film overall, other than just you thought it was really good? What did you think of the tone? I thought it was very reminiscent of the old films, not just in the subject matter, which of course, a lot of it seemed was kind of borrowed or echoed from the originals, but the tone, the way it was focused in the right places. It was on the characters and their relationships and their journeys, rather than the political disruption or whatever that we had in the episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
characters were kind of side action.
It's it's A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi all wrapped up in one. So it's basically touching base in every way. So it's hard for me to imagine what the second and third could be like now, because they've covered all the old ground, or recovered the old ground.
I think that was intentional to cover pretty much all the old ground, because really it felt like saying, yes, this is completely part of that universe that you know and love. It's all familiar to you, and now we're going to give you something that becomes more different as it goes on. I have a feeling the next episode is going to be all around, not all, but heavily on the training, because you saw the good and evil, the two rivals that were somewhat evenly matched, even though one of them was wounded, so you can't really tell how evenly matched they are. But both of them were going off to receive additional training in the next episode. So that's going to be the arc, isn't it? Which one of those two can become more powerful, and which one of them is going to be swayed to the other side?
Well, that brings me to my first criticism of the film, because Han Solo's son, who was being trained by Luke Skywalker and kind of turned to the dark side, and in disgust and shame, Luke Skywalker has disappeared and turned his back on everyone and retreated to this long-lost Jedi temple. But his son is obviously being trained by this supreme evil emperor that looks like the Mekon from Dandare, which is cool. But he's quite powerful already. He can do the mind stuff and make people say what they want to say, what he wants them to say, and he can kill people just with the force of will, and he can stop a laser bolt firing towards him through the dark force, which is all good. But when our heroine starts to awaken her Jedi powers, she suddenly makes a leap from being an utter beginner to actually being a rival, and actually better her rival, which is like, hold on, she's not had any training. How does she suddenly become this good with a lightsaber? But I had fun with that.
I think she was generally naturally good at things. Anyway, wasn't she? Whenever she applied herself to something, she was generally good at it.
Yeah.
And it's when she wasn't thinking consciously about it, she could just do it, which is kind of how it's put across the Force. When you're trying too hard, you don't succeed, like when Luke was trying to get the X-Wing out the swamp in The Empire Strikes Back. It just has to be natural. You have to...
When Luke can't do something or he's struggling, he hears the voice. He hears the voices that guide him, and you don't hear or see the guidance and where she's getting this from.
I wouldn't say necessarily her being able to better the rival was because she was strong, more so because he was weakened, obviously, and he seemed to have lost focus. Because obviously he'd just done that horrific act, and you saw earlier how conflicted he was about it all.
I'm not sure either why he has so much hate for his mother Leia, and his father Han Solo. Where does this contempt come from?
I think we'll probably get more into that in the next episode.
And do you think Han Solo is truly gone?
Probably.
Because
I mean, I heard rumblings that he wasn't going to come back for the full trilogy because he just didn't want to do it, because he doesn't like doing it that much.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if they said, well, we want you back, but you only have to do the one, then maybe that was what enticed him to come back in the first place.
Yeah, I can't see him coming back personally, but I think he's given it his all. And probably had more screen time as well in this new film than some of the old ones. I think he's given it all as a sort of a transition point, you know. So I think the new characters now are quite well established, and it's going to go with them. But that brings me to my second criticism, and that is the snorkel mask, or the anteater mask that. What's his name? Kylo Ren, is it? The baddie?
Yeah.
Why does he wear it?
Well, it seemed like he kind of idolizes Darth Vader.
Right.
Because he was obviously his grandfather, and he kind of mastered the dark side, and he wanted to continue down the path of the dark side, but then not be turned like Vader was ultimately. But he's struggling with that, as you see, as he even says that he's struggling with.
But the mask of Vader made sense because you could hear the breathing, and it was a functional mask as well as a deadly-looking one. I mean, the snorkel mask that this guy wears, I don't know why. But my friend said when he watched it with me, he was saying, "Oh, I wish he hadn't taken it off until he sees Han Solo at the end."
Possibly. You do see when he takes it off, it seems like it's not only there to idolize Vader, but it also seems like he's hiding shame to me.
Yeah.
If he looks someone in the eye, then he has to admit, yes, I've kind of turned evil, if you will, and that's still something he's not really come to terms with himself.
Yeah.
So he's kind of hiding from that behind the mask.
Yeah, I can see that. And my third criticism is John Boyega's character Finn. Now, watching the first 3 Star Wars, you're led to believe that the stormtroopers are all clones from one guy.
Well, I don't think that was ever actually established in the.
Well, they created a whole clone army at least.
In the prequels, yeah, but I think they're pretty much being ignored for the most part, which is, in my mind, it's a good thing. Because in episodes 4, 5, and 6, then stormtroopers they had different voices and they would chit chat with each other.
Yeah.
So they definitely weren't clones. So I think that was just something that came in later in the prequels because they thought, well, we mentioned Clone Wars. I know all these guys wear the same outfit. Let's just have them be clones. That seemed like it was kind of shoehorned in and didn't really make sense.
They could have easily tied in both things by showing them being made, a short clip of being made or trained, and you could see multi-ethnic and racial.
They did actually reference a clone army at one point in the film. I don't know if you heard it when they were talking about the training of the stormtroopers, because obviously one of them turned against them and wasn't loyal, and he said it sounded like he was threatening maybe we should have gone with a clone army or something like that.
Oh.
So maybe there was that clone army in the past, but it's just unrelated to the stormtroopers that came later.
So they're my criticisms, but I love the actual humanity and the brotherhood of the stormtroopers that you see for the first time in this thing. And there's two examples of that. And one is when John Boyata, his squad, first leaves the land ship to annihilate this village. His friend gets shot, and he looks down, and he's covered in his friend's blood. And then you just see this brotherhood. And then the second clip is when Kylo Ren is having a mad fit because someone's got away, and he's smashing up the whole room. And the stormtroopers are walking past, hear him having a hissy fit, and then turn around and walk the other way. I mean, there's great humour in this film and like genuine funny moments.
I think the stormtroopers, they did lack a bit of personality before, and it's something new because obviously there was a lot of old stuff in there. So something that we haven't seen before is a stormtrooper turn like that. Another thing we haven't seen, which is the major mistake of episode 1, I feel, is that the most interesting villain was killed off in the final scene. So you think, well, what's the big exciting, like what's coming up in episode 2? Which showdown are we looking forward to? Apart from the one that you know is obviously going to come.
Yeah, I mean the big sort of fights at the ends of the prequels were just. I like the ones with Ewan McGregor in and the Sith Lord. They were and the Sith Lord. That was a great battle, but the ones with Yoda in were just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, episode one was,
and suddenly they're just going at all hype. It's sort of like turbo drive. It's silly.
If you look at the fights with the lightsabers, let's start with episode 4, technically the first one, where you've got Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fighting, and then Obi-Wan like allows himself to be killed. There was that advanced the story considerably, because obviously you had Luke witnessing it, and then you had the spirit of Obi-Wan coming back later, and Darth Vader presented as the subject of Luke's rage in the future, the quest for vengeance against him, which could have potentially led to him turning to the dark side. Then in episode 5, you had Luke and Darth Vader, which is obviously incredibly emotionally charged, and you had the big "I am your father."
That was amazing. That's got to be like the quintessential duel of all time, really.
Then in the next one, in Return of the Jedi, you've got them fighting with the Emperor present, which just adds a whole new element to it. And you see actually Luke Skywalker becomes more powerful as the rage goes through him, which makes you think, well, is what they're saying actually true? Is the dark side actually stronger? Because look at him. Look, he's just pelting away at Darth Vader now and whooping him essentially with the anger.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of emotion in that. And then you come to the lightsaber fights in episode 1, where had Darth Maul escaped after killing Qui-Gon, that would have been great, because Obi-Wan would have been overcome with kind of grief and anger, and he would have been looking for him in the next couple of films, wouldn't he? Looking for that final showdown with the guy that killed his master.
No, I liked him getting killed. I liked Obi-Wan killing him. It felt good.
It felt good, but it was a short-term payoff to sacrifice what could have come later.
Yeah.
So he was killed off prematurely. Had he escaped, you could have looked forward to another duel between them. But overall, the action in it was fairly cool, and you saw someone die. They just didn't really do enough with it later. Then in the next one, was that where they fought Count Dooku?
Yeah, he was a great character because you couldn't decide whether he was good or evil at one point.
He was underdeveloped, I think, though.
Yeah.
I don't think if they were going to make him one of the more intriguing evil characters, they should have put a bit more focus on him and built more of the story on him. But he was kind of a side plot almost, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think the guy that comes out of those prequels the best is Obi-Wan.
But you don't really learn that much about him throughout.
No, but
in episode 1, he barely got any screen time, really. Did he?
Christian it ruins it, and then just his transformation into Darth Vader's a joke, really.
Yeah, episode 3, that really long lightsaber duel. I didn't like that at all.
It was silly. It didn't need to be riding on, fire things and floating through the air and it didn't need that. I mean, the episodes 4, 5, and 6 didn't need that. They used the scenery around them, sure, but their feet were planted on the ground, and it was a skill of lightsabers and wills.
And it doesn't matter how fancy people are jumping around and doing backflips. You have to inject the emotion, and you have to understand what's going through the minds of those characters while they're fighting.
Yeah.
And in the prequels, you never really got a sense for that, did you?
No, I think what happened is they got so carried away with what was possible with the technology that they wouldn't have to build sets, and they could just literally invent any alien environment they wanted to through computer generated imagery. But they got carried away with it, and they went to town with it. But unfortunately, that took away from obviously the acting and everything.
With this one, the lightsaber duel, it's kind of 1.5 lightsaber duels, really, isn't it? Because the non-force wielding guy has a go with the lightsaber, and he's not really that good with it, as you'd expect, because he's not a Jedi.
No.
And then he kind of gets.
Right, though. He's not.
Yeah, he's obviously a skilled fighter, but he's not a Jedi. He'd beat the average guy in a lightsaber duel, but not like a Sith Lord or anything.
Yeah, and speaking of lords, what do you make of this? What do you call this? The first, what do they call it? The First Empire? No, the First Order.
First Order.
The First Order. The leader, is he really this giant, bald-headed, alien-looking figure, or is he just been because it's a hologram? He's bigger.
Well, I don't think he's that big, really. Because if you remember, it may have just been in the special edition, actually, because I think it was Empire Strikes Back, there's like a little hologram of the Emperor that he talks to. And then in the special edition, they turned it into this giant head. So there is precedent for someone being drastically out of proportion in hologram. So I don't think we can read too much into him being huge.
Yeah, I don't mind him being huge, to be honest. I don't know.
Well, there are creatures in the Star Wars universe that aren't all the same size, obviously.
Yeah.
So who knows? It would be different, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, there are lots of moments in the prequels that I think are pretty cool. It does have its dramatic moments. When Hayden Christensen goes and slaughters all the younglings. It's pretty dramatic, isn't it?
I'm going to use a wrestling term now. I would call that cheap heat, is what they call it in wrestling. If you've got someone you want to show how evil they are, they go and pick on someone who's like innocent and can't fight back, like someone in the audience or a commentator or something. They'll go and beat them up, and then everyone starts booing, but it's seen as cheap because it's not really that creative. They just say, well, pick on someone who's helpless, that means you're an evil baddie now. And it seemed like a really sudden leap, and you never felt he was that good in the first place, Anakin. He was always kind of whiny and temperamental, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like that much of a turn. It was just, I'm kind of whiny, kind of fed up, and then suddenly, whoosh, pure evil.
Yeah. I think someone's written in the comments that Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine, and why doesn't everyone know the name of that actor? Because he is brilliant. I mean, he's in Return of the Jedi as well.
He is. I can't remember his name. I've seen him in other things as well. There's lots of just random TV from like the 70s and 80s he pops up in.
I think he's stunning in all the films. His character's the most interesting one as well. How he slithers through the political world, and at the same time he's got this other, he's the one with the most duality in a way.
In terms of the characters in the new one, do you feel you can relate to parts of the three main new characters? So you've got the two goodies and then the big baddie. Do you feel like you understand them from that one film and know what's going on in their minds now?
Yeah, especially with the girl. Is it Kylo Ren? I think she's brilliant.
Rey, the girl.
I think she's great. I think Finn probably going to get killed at some point. He has to die.
Oh, who?
Finn.
Finn.
Yeah. I don't know where his character can go because he's like, I don't know. He's interesting. it's interesting, but I'd like to know a bit more about him and what his place is going to be. You know, he's not going to be the lovable rogue. He's not going to be the Jedi. So what's he going to be? He's not the awesome pilot.
It'll be interesting to have someone who, in the originals, you had someone that turned from good to the light, but they were kind of in the superhero tier of people, like the Jedi and the Sith. But now you've got like an average schmuck who's on the side of evil, turned over to the side of good. And if he was quite a pivotal factor in the war, that would be quite interesting. If there's someone like at mortal level for you to relate to who's not this supreme being,
What
would be interesting.
What is his loyalty to the girl so much? Is it because he fancies her? Or is she been a catalyst for him finding the rebels and finding his purpose?
Well, other than the pilot that he escaped with, she was really the first real human interaction he had outside of that really regimented, controlled environment, wasn't she? So maybe there's like an instant bond there because of that. That's the impression I got. Like he would have latched on to the first person that he had any kind of outside experience with.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
There's a great scene with Rey, and she comes across the lightsaber, doesn't she? And she starts to feel the Force, and she has all the memories of being left behind on the planet. And you see the genuinely sad. It's genuinely sad, isn't it? How she's been sort of abandoned, and she's waiting for Godot, in a way, from the famous play. She's waiting, thinking that she's going to be saved by someone coming back to pick her up. I like that story thread's really good.
There's a lot of despair around that character, but also you could tell that she was kind of kind-hearted and everything, just from the opening of the film.
Yeah, and it's not all happy ending roses, because her despair is sort of relieved by meeting Han Solo and believing that he could be a father figure or a mentor to her, and then that's taken away from her.
Yeah, so she's really echoing kind of Luke's path, isn't she?
Yeah.
Because she's thrust into this world and finds out she has the Force. She sees her mentor, who she only recently met but has had a profound influence on her, cut down in front of her. And now she's gone off on her own to train with the wise old Jedi Master. So she could follow the same path as Luke, couldn't she?
Yeah.
And maybe that'll be what sways him round into training her, because he's obviously going to be reluctant. If he went and became a reclusive kind of guy, hiding in that temple because he was so distraught at his failure as a Jedi trainer, he's not just going to jump at the opportunity to start training someone else, is he?
No. And I like Poe, the character Poe. He's the sort of hero. Initially I thought he was Han Solo's son, because when he comes in, he's very like D'Artagnan, dashing, and he's a great pilot, and he comes with no fear, and he almost gets broken, doesn't he? He's a good one, but he seems a bit invincible at the moment as well, doesn't he?
A little bit. What did you think of some of the characters that came back in small parts, like Admiral Akbar?
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, they didn't look aged though. I would have thought they should.
His voice actually had aged.
Right. I wanted to see more of the band. You know, when they walk into the bar and there's that new band, and there's the song that's playing is so cool. It's like an old alien blues singer singing. I'd love to hear more of that song. I really like that. And what I did miss though, the TIE fighters, is the sound of the TIE fighters. Maybe it was the cinema I was in, but I just didn't hear that scary sound of it.
I think that may have been the smell of the popcorn overwhelming you, because I thought all the sounds were very authentic and very reminiscent of the old films.
Okay.
We've got a lot of comments, by the way, so we should probably address some of those things. A lot of people. Danny said that he's called Ian McDiarmid. That's right, the actor who was the Emperor.
Ian McDiarmid. Okay.
And a few people saying that BB-8 was great. I thought that was quite a cool little droid. And the fact that is an actual thing as well, it wasn't CG, I found that quite impressive. A lot of the effects, actually, because just looking at them on the screen, you just feel like, yeah, that just looks pretty real. It's not overly shiny like CG things, and then you find out, oh, it was actually a model. It wasn't CG.
And Luke Skywalker's appearance at the end is amazing. It is stunning, and that must be the most. He must have got paid so much. It's great for him because his career, apart from doing some voiceovers and one or two major films after Star Wars, it must be a great shot in the arm for him to.
I'm not sure though, because I think part of his not appearing in that many films, it's not through lack of offers. I think
he had a car accident, didn't he, or a bike accident?
I think, as well as things like that, he's kind of chosen to go into other things, and voice acting is something he really likes, apparently.
Right. Well, he's just the look on his face is just perfect at the end. It's just this look of aged wisdom and knowing too much and shame and knowing what needs to be done and knowing what's expected of him and feeling that fear that Yoda was trying to get him to channel into good.
You learnt more in that one facial expression than you do out of some entire films.
Yeah. I'm sure they must have had some script versions where he says something, but nothing's as powerful as what you see there. I'm not sure whether he's just spent the last 30 years, though, living on that little bit of rock.
A picture says 1,000 words, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
that one face expression did more than any one line would have done. I don't think there was any line that would have done that moment justice, really.
No. And it was almost like he knew he was expecting someone to come as well, which is pretty cool. And, it's almost like he left behind his lightsaber. He's the symbol of the Jedi. So what does that mean? Does it mean he's, taking a back seat and he's...
Well, technically, that lightsaber that she brought to him is the blue one that he lost when his hand was cut off. So maybe he still has his green one.
Well, the lightsaber, each color means different things, apparently, different ranks of Jedi.
I don't know, but he made himself the green one, didn't he? Because he lost the blue one when his hand was cut off in The Empire Strikes Back. And I don't know how that little alien lady came across it, but maybe we'll find that out as well in the future.
Yeah.
Other comments. The battle scenes look like something out of 40K sometimes. Yes, there was a lot going on in the battles, wasn't there? But it wasn't too much. They were focused on one part, but it was like you had kind of the soldier's eye view of what was going on, just looking around. It wasn't really zoomed out, so you just kind of lost the emotion. You were just looking at all this crazy stuff going on in one shot, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When what's his name? I keep forgetting what his name, don't I? The guy, the pilot guy.
Yeah, I've just forgotten his name. Oh, Poe.
Poe, yeah. The names aren't as memorable, are they?
I'm sure people were struggling to remember people's names in the original films for a couple of days after watching.
Names are better, aren't they? Because you always, everyone knew those names from the off, but these new names they're not as good.
They could become household names by the end.
No one's going to forget Skywalker, are they? Or Jabba the Hutt. But we need better names, I think, for the new ones. But when let's see, I've forgotten his name again. Oh, well, Poe. When Poe goes down for the dive for the dive run he's got to do, and he says, "Right, I'm going to need some backup here." You just knew those guys were going to get killed. If I was Red 5 or whatever, I'd go. I'm just going to hang back a bit. You go ahead. If anyone comes down, I'll look after you. But
you never want to be at the back when you're making like an attack run into some kind of big mega structure.
Exactly.
They always get taken out.
You don't see what happens to the bearded pilot, the sort of heavy-set bearded pilot who looks he could have some bigger part to play. You don't see whether, I think maybe he probably got blown up.
We've got Benjamin Powell says Finn and Poe will have a part of the focus of the next film, and that will be the Resistance point of view. Yeah, because the Resistance, they seemed a bit more organized and proactive than the Rebels originally were, because in the original trilogy, the Rebels were kind of always trying to escape, weren't they? And it was very rare that they actually went on the offensive. Whereas the Resistance, they seemed like they're really taking the fight to the First Order because they had official government backing. So they can afford to do that. They don't have to hide as much. But now, the fact that all those planets got blown up that were kind of supporting them, you feel as though they are going to be shunted back into the kind of rebel mode where they're going to be really struggling to survive.
Talking about planets and planetary weapons, the super weapon is stunning, really. And the scene where those worlds get destroyed is just really amazing. You see those 3 arcs of balls of fire with the music as well. It's pretty stunning. But it's going to be hard to top. It's going to be hard to top what you've seen.
Well, I don't think they need to top that, though.
We see the combination of the prequel of the original 3s in this new film. How much bigger can they take it? Apart from worlds are being destroyed, you can't get bigger than that, can you?
Well, I think they laid out all the groundwork, like I was saying, is it to show us that this is connected to the old trilogy.
So when's the new one coming?
I think the new one is next Christmas.
That soon?
Yeah. So I think the next one, they're probably less reminiscent of the old films, apart from the Jedi training, because I'm sure Luke will have learned something from the way he was taught by Yoda when it comes to the training. And then maybe we'll see the evil training as well, because we've never really seen someone trained in the dark side of the Force, have we? In any of the films.
Sort of. They kind of get you to do cruel things, don't they? It's
But we've never seen the same kind of training that Yoda was putting Luke through from a dark perspective.
No.
We've never seen just, okay, here we are, this remote place, I'm just going to train you until you're ready. We've never seen that, and I think we're going to get it from both sides in the next film. I think that's going to be very interesting.
If it plays to form, then the next one's going to be the really dark one.
It could be. I think with the training, it's definitely going to be quite slow in those parts. Those two are probably going to be off training while there's another fight going on with the Resistance.
Yeah. For it to be truly dark, you've got to have major characters that get killed. Really. In Empire Strikes Back, Han Solo's freezing scene, for all intents and purposes, you thought he was dead,
Yeah, I think it was pretty much the story of the new characters with Han Solo there as the face of the old films to carry you through it, to get you to know them, to keep you invested in the film while you're getting to know these other characters. And the next one, it seems like it's going to be Luke that does that. And then I would imagine in the third one, they'll kind of break free of the shackles of the old films, and it'll be almost all about the new blood.
Yeah.
As they have some kind of huge finale showdown between good and evil, as it always comes down to. Let's see, what else?
What about Yoda? Do you think Yoda will make an appearance?
I wouldn't be entirely surprised if we saw like the ghost of Yoda or something at some point.
You could even have, Obi-Wan spirit as well.
I don't think it'll happen, because I think Luke has taken the place of those old wise guys now. So I think he, in that role, is going to be enough. I don't think we'll necessarily need the spirits of his past mentors. But I wouldn't completely rule it out either. I'm sure they'll give us something else to reference back to the old films again.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't pick really famous actors for the new major roles.
Yeah, there's barely anyone I recognise, actually. There was that one, I think you mentioned, the bearded, larger pilot. I recognised him from something.
Yeah.
But most of the actors I don't remember seeing in other things.
Yeah. Which is good, because you don't have any premeditated ideas about them so much.
Yeah, when they're new characters, I feel like I've got to know them as those characters now. I don't just know them as that actor. What do I think they did with this character? I just see them as that character.
Well, I'm falling it. I'm dying here. I'm so tired, man.
Yeah, it has been an incredibly long show tonight. Christmas special and an in-depth Star Wars analysis for everybody. So I think it's about time to call it a night then, isn't it?
Yeah. Nice one, Andy. Great show, man.
It has. It's been an emotional roller coaster, folks, and we will see you next week. So, ta-ta for now, and may the Andy and Rem show be with you.